Welcome, everyone, to TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. I'm your host, TJ, and with me here, as always, is the Grumpy Old Man. They say there's no shame to his game because he's always the same.
That's me.
And with us here as well is the king of comments, the magnificent Son X.
It's X time, baby.
You're going to actually have to speak closer to the microphone wherever Grump put that.
It's X time, baby.
Grumpy, you know.
What?
You got Grumpy and X trying to fucking switch shit. Is your microphone still connected there, Grump?
No, it's over here. I put it closer to your little friend X.
My little friend X. Well, there we go. Welcome back, everyone, to TJ and the Grumpy Old Man. It's a twice a week all sports podcast where we talk anything and everything. That is really, I'm sure, entertaining for the listeners at home. Yes, but not when Grumpy is blowing into the microphone.
Here,
That's
off into it to see if it's working.
You done? You done, Grumpy? Yeah, it's working just fine. Okay. For those of you who are new to the channel, welcome. This is a twice a week all sports podcast. It takes place every single Sunday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and every single Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if you're new to the channel and you like the content, you like the kind of camaraderie we have, and I'd guess I'd even argue to say, the vibes, right, X there, and the vibes, right, the commentary that we've got there, and kind of the topics that we cover. Make sure to do a few things here for us. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube. And make sure to like the video. If you subscribe on YouTube, that's a way to make sure that anytime we go live, you get an update saying, "Bing, TJ and the Grumpy Old Man's on." And also, if you like the video, that lets us know that you like the content that we're producing. So, we know, hey, great, we're doing a good job. And also, apparently, it helps the algorithm, right? It helps get this fun time of talking sports, and specifically, I guess, all sports, out to the masses. So make sure, again, if you like the content, subscribe on YouTube and like the video. For today's podcast, we got a lot to cover, right? This weekend was NFL Super Wildcard Weekend. So there definitely were quite a few games to cover that have already happened. And I'll tell you this here too. We've seen some paper tigers that have been exposed for who they truly are. And we're going to talk about that. And that should be fun. We've also got some NHL news and updates to speak about as well, which should be fun also. But I think there's no better way to start this off than to jump into some NFL Wildcard Weekend. The weekend was kicked off by the Browns playing against the Houston Texans. I think most people thought the Browns were going to beat the Texans. Browns looked a better team. Joe Flacco is really firing on all cylinders. That Browns offense is playing well. Their defense is playing well. And the Houston
Turn the clock back like it was 2013.
He turned the clock back. That's right, Grump. Now, what happened in that game, Grumpy?
The clock struck 12. He turned into the pumpkin. That's it. He looked like Patrick Mahomes out there. Not good enough.
That's right.
X, whatever you're doing, you've got to lean or speak of that a direction.
Oh, that's right. He was relying on his defense, and his defense let him down, kind of like Patrick Mahomes, except Patrick Mahomes' defense stepped up to the plate.
Well,
two interceptions.
No. Long story short, Joe Flacco, who was a streetie, 7-8 weeks ago, was street free agent. He turned back into that. He was not great yesterday. I thought Cleveland's defense, particularly in the first half, just got exposed. And at some point in time, you got to make those adjustments in the game. They waited till halftime. They got burned over the top how many times yesterday in the first half? 6-7 times, big 50-yard gains, touchdown passes. That was basically the game. Then Flacco throws back-to-back pick sixes in the third quarter. Click. Off went the game for me.
Yeah, and so this was right? It was still, at this point, it's a 10-point game.
Yeah.
You're driving the ball. You're in field goal range. It's 1st and 10. And Flacco gets some pressure on him, and this is what happens. Right? Steps back there in the pocket. In contact, threw it up for grabs, And Njoku, not sure what the hell he was attempting to tackle, and they have a huge pick six here.
I mean, and
Yikes.
honestly, Cleveland moved the ball on them methodically. Everything Houston did was just like boom, big play, boom, big play. I mean, good for Houston, right? They've never won anything. They were second worst team in the league last year. How can you not root for Houston, right? I'm rooting for all the teams that, are underdogs pretty much.
But
I think one thing we could – I think one thing – yep, okay, sure. Oh, that one was even worse.
That was just all on Flacco, my God.
Yep.
And that's where it's like, okay, the game's over. It was on 4th and 2nd, and he just oh my God. If it wasn't picked off, I'm sorry, 4th and 2. If it wasn't picked off by the first defender, it would have been picked off by the second defender.
Not to mention that the safety for the Cleveland Browns had his head up his ass the entire game. It was just allowing them to just run right past him all game, giving up 45 and 50-yard passes for touchdowns. All game in the first half. All game in the first half.
Much better. Scoot closer, X, if you can, or move the microphone closer. I'm not sure. Whichever one works best. But yeah, it's Houston. I don't think anybody was penciling in, or not many people were penciling in, yes, Houston is going to beat the Cleveland Browns before the game.
Yeah, I certainly wasn't. Let me just say one thing about so far, and we've just started the Detroit-Los Angeles Ram game, which Detroit just moves right down the field for a touchdown. Every single game has been pretty one-sided. Every single game in the playoffs so far. But I think that's what you get when you all of a sudden, we got 14 teams make the playoffs. Teams that don't deserve to be in the playoffs are in there, and they're just getting it makes for less competition, I feel, particularly in the first round. I think you saw it last year as well, and you've seen it this year. But I mean, have these games been fun to watch? Seriously, have these games been fun to watch? Nail biters in any way, shape, or form?
I think this evening game has a chance to be better. Perhaps the Lions and the Rams. Here's the thing: the Rams do they utilize their offensive weapons correctly? If they do, I feel confident that they're very tough out no matter who they play because they do have weapons. It's just are we managing the game correctly or not? But the games as a whole, you're right, Grumpy, have been games to where they've been pretty one-sided for the most part, and I'm sure it's not great for ratings either when stuff like that happens. So we've got here the first game. That was, I'd say, a shock. CJ Stroud plays well. The Texans beat.
Was it really him playing well, or was it the fact that he has phenomenal weapons with Nico Collins and Tank Dell?
I think it helps. Here's the thing. It always helps. Anytime you have really good weapons, that helps. Right? Like Tank Dell and Nico Collins are not first ballot Hall of Famers like other quarterbacks play with or have had in the past to win Super Bowls. But, I mean, Nico Collins and Tank Dell are guys who are very good wide receivers. I don't think like when all is said and done, when you're like, okay, what are some of the best wide receivers to ever play the game? You'll throw a guy like Tyreek Hill perhaps in the mix. You'll throw, if you're talking tight ends, maybe a receiving tight end like Travis Kelce. You're not throwing in guys like Tank Dell and Nico Collins probably.
Well, Tank Dell's out, so it's Nico Collins, and he's been the big guy for them.
And Dalton Schultz was the other one yesterday.
He had a lot of catches
yesterday.
You don't throw Dalton Schultz's name in there either, though.
I'm just saying, Nico Collins had a play yesterday where he literally saved C.J. Stroud from throwing an interception. Saved him from it.
Yeah, I mean, I thought C.J. Stroud played well. I think DeMarco Ryan is a really good coach. For a rookie coach taking over that team, I mean, great job against Cleveland. They exposed Cleveland on the back end. The game was over really in the first half. Then the 2 pick sixes ended it. But their Cleveland's defensive backs were just caught standing still. Guys just running by them, then they turn in and chasing. They're wide open all over the field. We saw that today also with the Cowboys and the Packers. And I don't know what defensive coordinators are thinking sometimes.
Okay, I won't say – you keep saying the game was over in the first half. talking about the Texans and the Browns. It was a 10-point game. The Browns were driving the ball. It wasn't until Flacco threw back-to-back pick sixes was the game over, right? If you score as you drive, it's a 1st and 10 at the opposing 35-yard line. You're down by 10 points with a quarter and a half to go. I'm not saying that game's over, right? The nail in the coffin was back-to-back pick sixes. That's just inexcusable.
True.
I don't know. I'd say it was over the fact that the Browns couldn't stop the Texans' offense all game.
Okay. It's I wouldn't say it's got much to do with that, X. I think it's okay. The Texans played well. How did the Texans got a few rushes there too? I didn't think the Texans offense in general looked dynamic. I thought CJ Stroud played well. I thought the wide receiver, I thought guys got open. I wouldn't necessarily say, oh man, I think after the 2 pick sixes were thrown, you just saw Browns were like, they gave up. My opinion, that was the end. They just gave up. And it was like, okay, then at that point, it's easier to run the ball. You're not getting as much. It was just like, oh fuck, we just lost.
Well, their touchdowns in the first half were all on broken plays. The Texans.
Everything was a busted play, a deep pass, and guys are wide open. Like I said, you saw the same thing today in the Dallas Packers game. Same thing. It's like, what are the defensive coordinators thinking? Honestly, I didn't.
Now this is one I always. Go
ahead.
I was about to say, this is one to where, like, we talk about, right? Like some players get, some players get all these type of items, others not so much. I do like the comment. If that's Patrick Mahomes and not Joe Flacco, the defender would have been arrested and given to the gas chamber.
Yeah,
I mean, like, it would have been a penalty.
I cannot believe that was not called. I'm not saying right like that changes the game.
No.
But that's definitely a call that should be called. He's in the process of sliding. But if that's like a guy like Mahomes, you're right. Or if that's Tua, if that's one of the faces of the league, that's called every single game. This is street free agent Joe Flacco at this point. So they're not going to give him that call.
Is Tua face of the league?
I think Tua because here's the thing. In the first half of the year, people would have been saying, yes, Tua's a face of the league. But guess what? That's why they play 17 regular season games and not 8 or 9 when it's sunny and 90 degrees every single day in Miami and it's warm outside. That's the reason why they play football over a 17-week regular season and then the postseason, because it's not, hey, you're the MVP through 6 games.
He's the face of the ads for the local Miami hospitals.
Come here and get great treatment is what they're advertising. Is that it, X?
Do you have CT? Here's a place where you can get checked out. They helped me, Tua, get back on the field.
And then he said, Tua, look over here. The camera's in this direction. But I mean, think about it. I enjoyed what I saw the Kansas City game yesterday just because of the elements. I like the elements. I don't like everything in a dome. I just don't. I think the elements bring something to football, and here's the thing. So far, my predictions, I've 1-2. So what the hell do I know?
I was about to say I'm over, and that's fine. I mean, like the NFL.
Right. You picked Miami, didn't you?
Yeah, I picked Kansas City.
I was hoping that. Here's the thing. I was hoping for. I was hoping that Miami and Tua were going to finally be able to break the mold, finally be able to exceed the expectations I had for him. Now, mind you, Tua going into the last night's game against Kansas City had never won a football game, high school, college, or professional, when it was colder than 45 degrees outside. Yeah. So, again, I should have probably done some digging on that side, and just alone based off of that statistic, I should have known there was no way Tua was going to win. I was hoping, he would finally go ahead and prove me, the haters, wrong. I'm a hater of Tua, and I guess rightfully so. But I was hoping you would prove me wrong. I was hoping Tyreek Hill going back to Kansas City was going to have a big evening as well. But
yeah, I didn't. I was hoping Miami would win, but I didn't think they were capable of winning. And you saw yesterday, there was a little wind, a little breeze, and every single one of Tua's throws were just hanging in the air. Miami needs a quarterback. I'm not blaming the head coach. I know they had some injuries, which hurt them. You lose your 2 edge rushers, that hurts. But they've made some dumb plays too. I mean, just everything's a floater. We say it every time. He gets a little pressure, man, he's throwing off that back foot, just throwing up for grabs. Kansas City didn't do anything special there. That's all on 2.
The touchdown they scored was all Tyreek Hill. All of it was because it was an underthrown ball. Tyreek had to come back and get it, and then broke 2 tackles and score.
I have that real quick. I have that. I'll put that up next, but you're absolutely right. I mean, I think really quickly to touch on Grumpy's point, you're absolutely right. Look at this. It's not like, oh, man, this particular play, he's got guys in his face. He's throwing off his back foot, and that's the reason why the ball sails. And people are trying to break it down like, oh, well, this is a great job by that Kansas City defense. Look at them disguising their coverage play. And you know what? Here's the thing. The guy is open, right? He's open on this slant.
Wide open.
But he thought he had Stretch Armstrong out there in the field that could leap up and catch a ball thrown 12 foot over his head. And
Will was out there.
Was that X?
He thought Will Chamberlain or Harold Carmichael was out there.
So that one obviously, but you're right. Every single pass by him was absolutely hideous. I mean, Tua. God,
his arm sucks and his mechanics blow. Brian Flores knew what he was talking about when he said, "You're a shitty quarterback." He knew.
This right here is a situation. No pressure in his face. He's still not doing a great job. You're supposed to transfer power from your back forward as you're throwing the football to change where you have your power to help the ball go further. And look at this shit. I've never seen a guy whoop and still is over here just he still doesn't fucking step into his throw. Tyreek Hill is wide open. If you hit him in stride, he is going untouched into the end zone. Well, Tua.
And he comes back and makes a phenomenal play on this ball.
Now this pass interference too.
Yes. Okay. This ball, they're throwing from they're throwing from their 47-yard line just to track how far this ball goes. From the 47-yard line to what about the 20? He threw the ball 33, 34 yards downfield, and he couldn't reach 34 yards downfield.
And it's a floater.
But you're right. That was 100% Tyreek Hill. That was thank you so much, Tyreek Hill, from saving an interception and scoring us a touchdown.
Look at how late that flag comes in.
I mean, it was a blatant pass.
And look at it. He doesn't step into it. He opens up. You got to step towards your target. Everyone knows that. He opens the body up, and that's why and he drops his arm and he just floats everything out there. Like I said, if you're a Miami fan, you need a new quarterback.
If you're a Miami fan, hopefully now you've realized what we've been saying since day one of the draft, that was the wrong pick and you had the right guy available, but the fucking GM selected the wrong QB.
He's got an arm like a noodle. You earn a nickname like Noodles.
Yeah, he sucks.
He's not the answer. And he was terrible. Guys were wide open. And I think Kansas City's defense is this is a good defense Kansas City has this year. But they didn't win the game to me. And I thought the game actually was the fact that Miami could not stop Kansas City's running game. Couldn't do it.
Yes.
Just couldn't do it. And that was the difference of the game. From snap one to the end of the game, they couldn't stop their running game. And that's why Kansas City won.
Oh, that really bad offensive line. They didn't impose their will on the Miami Dolphins or anything. Like anybody's like, oh, man, that Chiefs offensive line. Oh, they've got pressure Mahomes all day. That line created monstrous holes for Pacheco to run the ball. Pacheco's a hard runner. They controlled the line of scrimmage. They dominated Miami's D line, right? Their offensive line has the ability to do that. And they're in a good spot, I'd say, right now, Kansas City.
In Miami's defense, they had their linebacking core was decimated with injuries. They had no rush ends, so they were shorthanded, right?
Yes.
But still, man, they do some dumb things. It was towards the end of the game. I think Kansas City. What was the final score of that game? Was it 26-10 10?
It was 27-10, something like that.
Okay, 27-10. So it was 20-10 or whatever it was. And they had actually called a penalty on Mahomes for grounding. I was stunned. And it was, absolutely. So it was like 3rd and 20. And it was borderline field goal territory at that point. So on 3rd down, 2 again rolls out. He gets pressure from Christian Wilkins. He throws the ball away. It was going to be 4th and 20. Christian Wilkins takes 2 steps and shoves Mahomes down. And I'm like, that shit. And I said, they're going to throw it. And bam, they hit him with the flag. You knew it. You are not allowed to hit the quarterback, take 2 steps and shove him to the ground. Now, Mahomes is a bitch for certain because he's crying every single play about getting calls. That's what happens when you don't have weapons. You got to try to manufacture. You got to try to work the refs, okay? So, long story short, 2 plays later, 2 Pacheco runs or whatever it was, a screen pass to Clyde Edwards-Helaire and a Pacheco run, game over. And it's like, you can't do dumb things like that in the playoffs. You just can't. And they certainly did. This must have been.
Here it is. This is it, grumpy old man. You're right. It was in the 4th quarter.
It was absolutely a hold on the same play. Correct, X.
Okay, so you just got to make sure that the mic is going to have to be shared, guys. Just a reminder. But yes,
penalties called the hold.
Yes, but it was 3rd and 20 at this point. And this is what occurs here. And you get a roughing the pass. My God. Let's watch this brutal roughing the passer call. And now again, it's the wussification of this game. It's the wussification of the sport. It's pathetic. I'm not a fan of calling bullshit calls like this. You're talking about this is the blatant hold?
Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely, that's a hold. But here's the thing. You know they're going to call that. But stop.
Okay, look at the official. Watch the official. That's the problem I have. He didn't push. He doesn't even extend the hands. You've got the fucking ballerina of the ice capades out here taking a slide in the snow. Look at this. Boop, hands on him. He doesn't even extend his hands all the way. You know what they would call that at the combine for a bench press rep? Does not count. Does not count. He doesn't extend the hands. He goes, whoop. And look at this by Mahomes. Oh, looks right up immediately. Where's his eyes go?
Yeah, he's a whiny bitch. He's a whiny bitch, no doubt about it.
What's the official looking at? Oh, okay. Let's see. Oh, okay, gotcha. We'll go ahead and give him the call. Oop.
Okay.
I'm sorry. That's fucking. I hope a guy like that fucking gets breathing through a straw sometimes when you fucking start diving like that. Can you
just play it first and then we'll talk about it?
Good. This is not the reason they lost, though.
Absolutely not.
It's not. It's just. I'm sorry. That's a blatant hold.
That's a hold.
How do you miss that?
Donovan Smith. Yikes.
He holds every play.
Donovan
Smith holds every fucking play.
Are you guys sharing a microphone?
Okay. That being said, you cannot take 2 steps towards the quarterback and put your hands on him. Dumb by Christian Wilkins. Sorry. You can't do it. You just can't do it. It's dumb. Absolutely should have been, if you're going to call it, had to be both 2 penalties because Justin Houston off the scrap heap to play the end. The rush end yesterday, he's a streety. It's like, dude, you're not going to get that call against Kansas City. You're just not going to in that. And Donovan Smith sucks. I mean, he sucked in Tampa. He sucks at Kansas City. That's going to be why Kansas City doesn't win this year. I don't think their offensive line, the tackle positions are good enough. I think it'll be a different story. And here's the thing. Miami's just a paper tiger. The only team that they beat this year with the winning record was another paper tiger, the Dallas Cowgirls, who got rolled tonight. Absolutely rolled tonight.
Yeah. But I do
Mike McCarthy gets fired tomorrow morning. Guaranteed.
Yeah.
Book it.
It's not the reason they lost. I will say one thing, though.
No.
It's a good way to make fans just in general of the sport despise you, make you very unlikable and rootable for. It's like when you do shit like that, that's a problem, in my opinion. It's like you can't be flopping around every time you get touched out there. You can't. And you know what? It's going to be when you get absolutely fucking tattooed and you are hurt. People are like, oh, what? I don't know. This is the same guy who goes flopping around anytime he gets 2-hand touched. I don't know.
He always
But
done that. He's a floppy little bitch, and he always looks to the officials all the damn time. All the time. He's always been like that. I'm surprised he hasn't torn a damn rotator cuff doing the damn flag signal so much.
the same guy has been bitching and moaning at multiple times this season about not getting the calls. Oh, that's the reason we lost this game. Oh, that's the reason he lined up all sides. You can't make a call like that in a spot. Again, here's the thing. Guys like that always get what's coming for them, and you won't see an ounce of sympathy shed for me when that happens.
If you listen to the narrative of the talking heads, Kansas City, they're built for January. Okay, you beat a team that, let's be honest, just not very good. Just not very good in the Dolphins. And you struggled down the stretch. Absolutely, you struggled down the stretch. I think if they're going to win, their defense has to carry them. I think Buffalo wins tomorrow against Pittsburgh. We'll talk about another conspiracy theory in a second here. They play Buffalo. They'll play Buffalo next week. I don't see them beating Buffalo in Buffalo. I don't see that happening.
It depends on how much the officials will be on the side of the Mahomes and Travis Kelce.
I just find it interesting.
Hold on. Is there any way maybe we could put that microphone in the middle of you guys? Does that work or no?
I'll move it when he starts talking. How about that? I mean, I don't know.
Can you not hear us? I can just yell.
I can't. Like when Grumpy has it up to his mouth, I don't really hear you all that well. But whatever. We're just trying to make. You guys are mixing shit up. Go ahead, though, Grump.
Oh, okay. I find it interesting that the NFL initially pushed the game back to 4:30.
Do you want to talk about that or finish up the rest of the recaps of our games before we jump into that? Which would you like to do?
Let's talk about that now.
Sounds like I figure this will be
sure. Let's go out of order. Let's go ahead and talk about that then, Grumpy. Go ahead.
I found it interesting that they wanted to move the game to 4:30 initially yesterday, and then they said, no, let's move it to Monday. And here's what I think the NFL did. They're like, hey, you know what? I like the fact that we can have 3 straight days of double headers. That's going to increase TV revenue. That's going to put more money in our pockets. That's what I feel the NFL thought. But now, if you think about it, Buffalo, the number 2 seed, is going to be short a day of rest, 2 days rest for Kansas City. They're playing a Monday night game, and Kansas City played a Saturday night game. That's 2 extra days of rest. That game will be on Sunday for certain. The Baltimore Houston game will be on Saturday. I'm certain that's what they'll do. But I just thought it's like, you know what? You're kind of hamstringing Buffalo a little bit, making them have 2 short days rest compared to Kansas City.
This is not the first time they've done shit like that to benefit Kansas City. A cough, Damar Hamlin game.
Well, a little different with the Damar Hamlin game than with this one.
They should have played the game out.
They should have played.
Christian Eriksen died on the field. They finished that game out. They actually didn't even postpone it. They finished the game out. What was it? 20 minutes after he died, and then came back to life. They finished the game out.
I don't finish the game. I just, like I said, it's just a conspiracy theory. I think that they did it. I don't think they did it to screw Buffalo. It just works out that Buffalo got screwed to Kansas City's advantage. But I absolutely feel that they're saying, hey, let's see, we can have 3 straight days of 4:30 and 8 o'clock games. We like this.
Well, here's my thing. Why was the Kansas City game not postponed when it was like negative 25 degrees and they had freeze warnings for people's health during that game, yet they're not going to play the Bills game because there's a little bit of snow on the field?
Okay,
they could have played.
Okay, you must not have even seen what the conditions look like. And second off, they don't cancel the games because they're cold. They cancel it because of the amount of snow. Now, I'm not in favor of canceling games due to snow, but here's the thing. The Buffalo Bills facilities is not well enough equipped to handle that much snow and to make that feasible for all the fans. Just not. That's why they postponed the game.
They could have played that game.
Like 2 or 3 years ago, they had a blizzard game that was the same conditions. You couldn't see the field at all, and they still played it. It was a regular season game.
I think those games are fun to watch. I think they're fun to watch.
I'm not saying they're not fun to watch. I would have enjoyed it. You're talking about the revenue of the league. Well, here's the thing, Grump. Like, do you think? Look at this. They were by the by. We'll put this up. Oh, there's a lot to talk about, so we got to stay on track. Because I remember there's other things that got started up. They were paying. Shit, where the hell is it? They're paying fans $20 an hour to come here and shovel snow, and and look at these Bills Mafia motherfuckers just over here having a good old time.
Okay, I'm telling you from personal experience, they've played games with way more snow than that. They've played games with this 2 foot of snow.
Now? When's the last time they played a game?
I don't care about now. Just play the game. That's why football, you don't cancel games for snow. You should never stop a football game ever. It's a game that's played in the elements. It just is. This guy, how drunk is he, you think?
If he's shoveling snow and working and getting paid, hopefully not drunk. I'm just saying he looks like he's got
a case.
It looks like he's got his abilities all about him. But this is what it looked like yesterday. I wasn't opposed for it, but I understand the reason why they canceled it. I'm not a big fan of the team with the better seed now has less rest. I'm not a fan of that. But what are you going to do? We're just going to be like, hey,
you play the game out. You want to know what the governor of New York said today? Yeah, we don't care if there's any type of warnings about it. The game's being played tomorrow. That's what she said. We're not canceling the game. We're not delaying the game. It's horseshit. It's football. It's football. It's not baseball. It's not synchronized swimming. It's freaking football. It's a man sport. At least it used to be when certain people were playing.
Don't fucking bother, Grump. We're not listening. You freaking try to derail this into your favorite topic.
Let's get into some comments.
Well, here's the thing. I wasn't done on the Miami game, but Grumpy just wanted to talk about his bullshit like he likes to do.
Okay, let's talk about
the item I want to cover regarding Miami, and a lot of Miami fans heated, and I mean absolutely heated. And I'll let you respond back as to what your thoughts are on this. After the game was over, after they just were embarrassed, and I mean embarrassed by the Chiefs, Tua goes and gives him a hug and starts asking for Patrick Mahomes' jersey. And the Miami fans are up in arms. Like, where the hell is the heart from this kid? He's over here asking for jerseys as he just got absolutely destroyed. He should be worried about, carrying him. They're not happy. Let me put it to you like this. Laughing my ass off. Tua gets blown out in a playoff game, and his first response is to ask for an opposing quarterback's jersey. No competitiveness, no fire. The kid is so soft. 14,000 likes. The Miami fan's not happy about that, to say the least. Here it is. You can watch it. Goes ahead and meets up with them. Oh, man, great game. You're so fantastic. Keep your head up. You played like shit, but you'll do better. Hey, man, can I get your jersey real quick? Yeah, buddy. Oh, I'm sorry. I already promised my jersey to somebody else on your team. Who knows? But he's asking for the jersey at the end of the game. I mean, what's your thoughts on that?
I know players do that, in soccer and other sports. I just think it's a little bit different in football. It should be. I mean, I'm not going to say do I think that Tua is a great quarterback? No, absolutely not. Do not believe he's a great quarterback. He doesn't have an arm. Do I think he's a winner? No, don't think he's a winner. Brian Flores, like I said earlier, Brian Flores was right about him. He didn't want him as his quarterback. He knew. Brian Flores is a hard ass.
Yeah.
Mike McCarthy, I'm sorry. What's his name? Mike McDaniels isn't, right? Let's be honest.
Yep.
He's always got to kiss it. No, I love you. You're great. You're the man here. Just stop. He's not. If he didn't have the weapon, Mac Jones and Tua Tagovailoa are basically. I think Mac Jones is a better quarterback than Tua Tagovailoa. If you put Tua on the Patriots and Mac on the Dolphins, I think the Dolphins are a better team.
Well, I agree with you that the Patriots are probably worse if Tua is playing for the Patriots because, well, anytime the temperature drops below 45 degrees, it's an automatic loss for anywhere Tua is playing for the team he's associated with. But I just think it's just a bad look. It's a bad look from in my opinion. Now here's the thing. I'm not going out there saying, oh, I think the kid's not a very good quarterback. I've mentioned that a million times. His mechanics are shit. They're garbage. He plays in a great system. The coach they have that great system. That style of system, I think, is going to take over the league in time. I really do, because it's hard to stop. You can get away with having an average quarterback, and you can be successful in this system, and that's
Miami
huge.
does.
Yep.
Miami does.
Yep.
I mean, let's be honest, right? I mean, he's all right. He's okay in the regular season, particularly when it's warm. When it's warm, he's pretty good. So no problem there. But and we talked about it, as soon as it starts getting a little bit cold out, let's see how Miami performs. How did they perform down the stretch?
Not good.
Not too good. Right?
They choked the season away.
They had injuries. They should have beaten Buffalo in Miami.
Every team has injuries.
Yes, every team has injuries. I mean, they had a whole bunch at the end. That's not to excuse the fact that they have a quarterback who just his arm isn't good enough. Just isn't good enough. They need to look in the draft for another quarterback.
I agree, but here's the thing. They're never going to bottom out to where they can draft the quarterback in the right spot unless they find a gem later on in the draft. And that is few and far between. Now, here's the thing. Absolutely should not have done this out on the field where he's asking for the jersey from Patrick Mahomes. This is your adversary. This is a guy that you're trying to beat. Your blood should be curdling right now with the lack of performance that your team hadn't displayed, the way you rolled over and died, how shitty your offense performed, how poorly you performed. Your blood should be curdling. You should be that pissed off. Not like, hey, man, great job. Can I get your jersey? Can I get your jersey? Jesus Christ, buddy. Pack it up. Pack it up and go home. Retire. Freaking end the career. You're just meant to be a pedestrian, average, freaking just an average journeyman quarterback in the NFL. That's what you're designed for.
Now, in Tua's defense, I did not hear him on this clip ask for the jersey.
I muted it.
Oh, okay.
I can put it back on. I just don't want playing the music too loud. I'll listen. Here it is, Grump. I told Reese he can have this one. He already gave his jersey to somebody else. He's like, can I get your jersey? Oh, I already said somebody else could have this one, but I'll get you one different.
Yeah. Now, people used to ask Brady for his jerseys, I think, back in the day. I don't know.
If Peyton Manning was playing Brady, and they just got Peyton Manning was held to like 100 yards, 2 picks, and he played like shit, would he be like, Tom, man, let me get your jersey. Please let me get your jersey.
Honestly, I don't remember that ever happening. I'm sure that they've done that maybe, but certainly not something. Like I said, I just think it's today's players they're just different. They're not as good. They're not as tough. They're just I just don't think it matters that much to them.
Yep.
And I just don't think Tua is that good. I just don't.
Let's get into some comments now.
Comments.
Go ahead, comment king.
Playoff winning percentage. Brady, 72.9. Yeah, that's pretty good. Mahomes, 80%. A little early. Let's let his career play out a little while.
Hold on, Derek. I got to ask you a question. Like, let's say if they lost next week to the Bills, would he have a higher winning percentage or a lower winning percentage?
It'd be low.
It'd be lower than this.
Now, you got to remember, here's the thing. All of Patrick Mahomes' games were home games. He's never played a road playoff game, ever. Next week will be the first time he's ever, as long as Buffalo wins tomorrow, will be the first time he's ever played a road playoff game. And he's, 6 years in his career? I mean, but it's something to be said. You win division every year. You have the best record, in the conference. You earn that. Let's see. It's a little bit different on the road than it is at home.
Also, if you don't mind me asking, what is Patrick Mahomes' postseason record against Tom Brady?
Oh, yeah. Well, we could say that. What's Patrick Mahomes' winning percentage against Tom Brady? It's 0. And what's Brady's against Mahomes? 1,000. Right? He's batting 1,000, beating him every time. Every time. Sorry. Derek, every week Derek comes back and he tries to make these ridiculous arguments. The only ones that matter is wins and losses in the playoffs. Brady beats Mahomes twice. Mahomes beats Brady never. And the whole thing is Mahomes can never be better than 0 wins against Tom Brady. And Brady's beaten a lot of people who's never beaten him ever. So it's nothing that, Mahomes, he beat Mahomes never beat him. Well, that's just most quarterbacks in the history of the league. So
I've got to ask this: Super Bowls without a top 10 defense. Brady 1, Mahomes 2. Let me ask you this here. In order, I think, to even entertain Patrick Mahomes in this series.
What metrics have you used?
Can you let me finish, please? I think to even entertain them being in that same spot, you first have to win 5 Super Bowls before I even could start comparing or adding them into the same mix. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm not going to reward guys for not making it far into the postseason or not making the postseason at all. That's just not something I'm going to do. Brady, I mean, he won 7 Super Bowls. He had, 10 appearances?
Yep.
10 Super Bowl appearances?
Yep.
It doesn't get better than that. And until you at least make the let's, you could start maybe having a conversation when Patrick Mahomes appears in his 5th Super Bowl, or if he has 5 Super Bowl rings, then maybe we could start having that conversation.
You have to have 7 before you can even start the conversation. 7. You have to win 7. If you don't win 7, you're not in the conversation. Sorry. And here's the thing. Do I think Patrick Mahomes is a shitty quarterback? Nope. I think he's good. I also think any pressure on him, that ball's up for grabs. He just throws the ball up for grabs. I don't think he's as tough as Brady ever was, ever. Never freaking ever. Never happened. But I think Patrick Mahomes is gifted. I also think he benefits playing in that system. The Andy Reid system is really quarterback. Alex Smith looked really good in that system, right? It comes from Bill Walsh all the way back to Montana, and then Mike Holmgren coaching, and that's where Andy Reid came from. He came from that system. He came from the offensive coordinator from Green Bay. Then he goes to Philadelphia. He turned Donovan McNabb. They went to 4 NFC Championship games with Donovan McNabb as their quarterback. I mean, it's a good system. It's a more quarterback-friendly and offensive-friendly system than the Patriots ever played, without a doubt.
The game, and here's the thing too. I love that it's the defenses. Well, Brady didn't play with how many Super Bowls can you say? Oh yeah, Brady at least had 1 or more first ballot Hall of Fame receivers / tight ends, right? First Super Bowl won there for Patty Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, and Travis Kelce. Those are big pieces, both first ballot Hall of Fame type guys. And this most recent one, you still had Travis Kelce playing at a high level, first ballot Hall of Fame tight end. Now, here's the thing. That's what happens. You've got good players and you're a good quarterback. You're going to win Super Bowls. And that's the same thing with Brady. Brady had good players. He won, and that's why he won 7 Super Bowls, because he was a fantastic quarterback and he had good players around him.
Every single Super Bowl, Brady had the Patriots or the Buccaneers in position to win, had the lead in the 4th quarter. And the defense would lose the game for them in the ones they lost. Every single time. Brady drove them down the field to win how many Super Bowls? Right? People forget Super Bowl 49 against Seattle. Seattle was the Legion of Boom, a tremendous, legendary defense. First time anyone came from 10 points down in a 4th quarter to win a Super Bowl. That's Brady against that defense, which was legendary. What they did to Peyton Manning the previous year. Just blew them out. Denver led the league. They were, 500-something points scoring, the most productive offense in league history. They got beat 38-9. That game was over in the 1st quarter because of their defense.
Yep.
Brady was beaten up in that game. He comes back, bam, bam, bam. That's the thing that made Brady so good. In the key moments, he always, and I mean freaking always showed up. My sister, rest in peace, when she saw a game and she hated Brady, hated him. He said, when Brady comes like, ugh, game's over. Because the game is close and Brady's got the ball at the end, game's over. She'd leave the house. And she'd be right by the time she got home. That's it. New England won.
Until you could start saying the same thing about Patty Mahomes, where it's like, oh, shit. Mahomes has got – that's it. That's the game. Right? That you can't even compare him. I don't even think you can compare him to Montana. I don't think you can compare him to a lot of quarterbacks right now. You've got to do it for a long time. If Patrick Mahomes goes out there, gets hit hard, severs his spine, or he has a career-altering injury, knock on wood, you don't want anything like that to happen, but has a career-altering injury, are you saying that guy's better than Brady? That guy, right? Like, you've got to do it for a long time. Do you think Patrick Mahomes is playing at the same level at 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 40 years old? Probably not. So
he's not even going to make it at 40.
Right. I agree, X. That's my thing. Do you think, I mean, because he gets paid a lot of money. People forget Brady took a lot less money to make sure that they could reinvest in the football team.
He gets paid $40 million a year.
Yeah, I mean, I don't begrudge him. I think it's closer to 50 now. I think they redid the contract. But I mean, when you're getting paid that much money, that means there's less to go around. And I think you've seen it this year. I don't think Kansas City's is good. They have a lot of guys making big money, and I mean that they just haven't been as good this year. I don't think. To me, like I said, I'm not putting down Patrick Mahomes because I think he's really good, but you can't even discuss the two. They're not even on the same. They're not even. It's not even that they're on the same planet. They're not even in the same solar system. Honestly, he's just not there yet.
Let's get to some more comments here, X.
Derek Monroe says, "You're lucky Brady had the better offensive line and defense on both of those meetings." Absolutely not true.
Chris Jones was still playing for the Chiefs, right?
Certainly, yeah, sure was.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Was he pretty garbage, or was he still pretty good? He was good at that time too.
The reason why the Chiefs lost to the Bucs and to the Patriots is because the Bucs and the Patriots had the better quarterback. That's why he lost. He's not as good as Brady. Sorry. I mean, you could. I can't. I don't even know how honestly you could even say these things. They're just so wrong. And I don't mind every single podcast explain it to you again and again and again. Because I know you're young, so the back of your head's probably still a little soft. But don't worry, it hardens up. I will continue. And maybe you'll learn. That's what I'm hoping. I'm here to educate you, Derek.
All righty. Let's continue on. James Farrell, Grump.
Hi, guys. Mike McCarthy needs to be fired. He will be. He's gone.
Yep, and he'll be gone. Yep.
Belichick.
Oof. Here's the thing. Dak Prescott blows. The problem is Jerry Jones is too hands-on. Could you imagine Bill Belichick walking in? Unless Bill Belichick controls Jerry Jones like a puppet master, that would not work out.
Belichick this season went out of his way to spend a long time with Steven and Jerry Jones. When they got rolled by Dallas. Went out of his way to talk to them for an extended period of time. He's always glowing in his admiration for Jerry Jones, the stadium, and the operation. He says they're like a franchise that every year that, they're the diamond franchise. He said that. Perfect situation for him. He doesn't have to worry about being GM. He could just be a coach. If he coaches Dallas, they win today. If he's a coach of Dallas, Dallas wins today. Mike McCarthy is not a great coach. Bill Belichick can still coach. He would turn that team around. Absolutely.
Okay.
I did not realize Dan Laporta was playing today as well. I thought he was not going to be ready for today's game. But yes, I agree. I think McCarthy did a terrible job today coaching. Awful.
Oh my gosh.
Now this is something. Yes, Grumpy, if you let me explain, I will tell you why he's on the screen, my friend. So
isn't it Cam Newton, right?
Yes, I will explain, Grumpy. Cam Newton, before the NFL playoffs, made a few predictions. And I tell you, he's not wrong on any of them. And he says a lot of the same things we've been saying for quite some time. But I'll let you listen here.
And Lamar Jackson, obviously Patrick Mahomes, Dak Prescott, Brock Purdy, but Brock, let's they're not winning because of him.
He's not turning the ball over.
He's managing the game. And if we were to put that in its own right as game managers, Brock Purdy, Tua Tagovailoa, Jared Goff, and really Dak Prescott. These are game managers. They're not difference makers.
And when you say game manager, I'm not asking you to go out and win the game. I'm just asking you not to lose.
Not to lose the game. Listen, motherfucker, I don't give a damn what you do. You don't have to score every time. You just don't have to throw a pick every time either. If we're going to really call a spade, a game manager is different than a game changer.
True.
Now he's not wrong on that.
He's not.
I'm not a big fan of him. Not like curling the collar down on his outfit. Whatever. Not a fan of the outfits.
What the hell hat is he wearing?
I think it's nice to know that he's got a job at Church's Fried Chicken. It's nice. I'm so glad that he got a job because he won't be playing quarterback.
Okay, Grumpy, we can't have you saying nonsense like that, please, my friend. Please, you can't say
Those are the hats they wear there.
I've never been to churches.
That's not the hats they wear at Church's Fried Chicken, Grumpy. So here's the thing. Cam Newton, he made correct predictions about that. They are right. They are game managers. They absolutely are game manager quarterbacks. That's simple. He's right about Dak Prescott. He's right there about Brock Purdy, I'd say. More of a game manager. He's right also, I'd say, Jared Goff, same exact thing. How well do they run the football? How well do players get open? He's more of a game manager. And absolutely just right across the board. A lot of game managers. Same thing with Tua. You could see it when you could see it.
I think how many of real winning quarterbacks are in the playoffs right now?
I don't know.
Mahomes, Allen, Lamar.
Would you consider Allen a winning quarterback?
Yes.
I would.
He's a game changer. Absolutely.
Oh, he's a game-changing quarterback. He's not a winning quarterback. Look at how many games he's lost.
He's top three.
No.
Matter of fact, those are your top three. I don't think anybody else. And maybe Jordan Love. Maybe.
This is Jordan Love's first.
I know.
Year.
He only threw 20 passes today. His guys were wide open. I understand. But I'll tell you what. He looked good today. I thought he looked good today.
You know who the number one winning quarterback is that's in? Baker freaking Mayfield. The stallion himself.
Well, we'll see him lose. You'll see him lose tomorrow, right? So you'll be able to see that.
It doesn't matter. One Oklahoma quarterback's coming out on top. So I'm on top of the world for that game.
Yeah, well, I do want to go ahead and showcase some of the Dak Prescott looked like absolute garbage. What's that?
Are we going to get to the rest of these comments?
Let's get through the comments. Grumpy wanted to talk about the Dallas game, but yeah, sure. We'll get through the comments here.
Let's Go Lions by James Farrell.
DJ late again.
Yep, I sent Grumpy and was ready at 7:05, and Grumpy wound up having to take his vitamins, go to the bathroom, and here we were starting 20 minutes late. Not my fault today. This is Grumpy's fault that we were as late as we were.
Wrong again.
That's correct.
James Farrell says, you think Belichick to the Cowboys as their next head coach? Why not? Why not?
Could happen.
Drew says, my Jordan Love is a franchise caliber quarterback narrative is still going strong. What a performance by him today. It's like the MVP. Dak Prescott was the MVP 6 weeks ago. Then it was Brock Purdy. Tua. It's like, you know what? Let's pump the brakes. I thought he looked good today.
I'll say he was throwing to wide open receivers. I mean, think about it. The one pass that he had, I think it was Musgrave in the corner where Musgrave ended up scoring a touchdown. He had to stop and come back and get the ball. That's how bad the throw was.
So, yeah, I just have a few. Go ahead.
The one thing that I thought, real quick, DJ, they picked on Stephon Gilmore. He's done. They ate him alive today.
Trayvon Diggs blows, always going for big interception or big hit, and he was exposed today too. Same thing with Gilmore. I mean, now, here's the thing. I thought Jordan Love, the game wound up being close, by the way. How much do you think, what do you think the end score was?
I think it was 48-30.
Yep.
Yeah, it was 48-32. So for as poor as the Cowboys played, they only lost by 16 points. And I'll let you watch.
They had the backup quarterback and backup players in for like a whole quarter.
Okay. Well, nonetheless, I think there were a lot of times when the Cowboys had self-inflicted wounds. And, here's one of them, right? I mean, this is the first quarter. It's 7-0 in the first quarter, 3rd and 5. Can't be doing stuff like this, right? Looky here. Whoop. Throws an interception.
I'll say that was pass interference, though.
They're both fighting for the ball. You go ahead. Your guy gets out muscled.
The guy until he touches the ball.
Okay. Brandon Cooks is never coming out of a contested ball contest winning. He's just not.
He overthrows him, buddy. X. If he puts it in a spot where only the wide receiver can catch it, it's in good area. Here's the thing.
Dragged on.
Okay, stop bitching. I mean, like, it's a contested ball. It wasn't blatant and obvious. The wide receiver doesn't work hard enough on the route and win the route. So is the ball maybe in the right spot? Perhaps not. And guess what? You threw it to a small, undersized wide receiver who didn't run the route and didn't win the space. It lies on both parties. But you throw an interception. You give the ball here to Green Bay at the 20-yard line. I mean, that's a nice spot to be in. There's a few of these here because it's just over and over and over again that the Cowboys just continued. And this was the pick 6 here. Like,
yeah, that was
Jesus Christ. Like, you were down at the end of the first half, 27-0.
27-7. Touchdown.
Was that X or was that Grumpy?
27-7.
Okay, so the one up scored right there. Okay, but it's just like this is like what? But Dak, what are we looking at here? We're in zone coverage, my guy. What are we looking at? Like, I mean, like this is a throw that you would expect a rookie to make. It's just like that we're sitting here in zone coverage, and you don't hit your open receivers who have enough to pick up the first down on 2nd and 2, and you throw yourself a pick 6. Now, talk about the Jordan Love, right? Like, how good did Jordan Love look? I thought he had some good throws. I thought, though, it was just like, what the fuck is what's Dallas doing?
Right.
That's more what I thought from today's experience. Like Dallas, what are we doing, guys?
It was like Cleveland yesterday. The guys are just wide open down the field. Stephon Gilmore, it's the worst game I've ever seen him play, ever. He was victimized time and time and time again.
Think about how poor this is right here. You just have a wash, right? Just wash everybody down the line of scrimmage. You've got your tight end who does not block Micah Parsons. He goes unimpeded. Now, it's a good job getting the ball out, recognizing the pressure, right? He hits someone in stride.
That was Gilmore's guy ran the wrong way.
Well, yeah, I'll be honest with you. Here's the thing. It's just the guys are open, and he hits open players for touchdowns, and he hits open players for completions. Like, what is
that's
this?
A terrible throw.
It's not a good throw, but like, what is like blown coverage after blown, like self-inflicted wounds? These are just like miscommunications in the secondary. This is right. Hey, this is what my franchise quarterback does. Hurrah! Throws it up for grabs where the guy's wide open.
He had to stop to catch. Dead stop and come back to catch that ball. He just threw it up for grabs. But like I said, let's pump the brakes on the franchise quarterback thing. And they were pushing it on the telecast as well. Brett Favre, Aaron Rodgers. Oh, okay. You don't know. Here's the thing I like about Green Bay. They're the youngest team in the league. And Matt LaFleur has gotten to the playoffs 5 straight years. To me, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
They play in a really shitty division.
And I don't think they were that great. I just think Dallas, Mike McCarthy's gone. I just think he finds ways to lose games they should win. I didn't understand some of the offensive play calls. It's like, dude, so you can't become a slave to the play sheet. And I think that Mike McCarthy sometimes is a slave to the play sheet.
Here's the issue I have, right? We talk about I'm just talking fundamentally, and I'm talking about, right, like maybe we're getting some results in the short term because we're making poor plays. But here's the thing. These are just really dumb decisions by him. I know it works out right here. Look at this. Let's throw across our body on 4th and 2 in the frame of about 5 yards, and 26 just whiffs on it, or 28 just whiffs on the fucking ball, and he threads the needle. That is not a high percentage throw that I want my quarterback attempting.
You
And
realize
look at Hooker. Hooker hits his hands like shit. I should have gone ahead and blocked that. Damn it. He knows he should have done better than that. Like, it's just poor plays by Dallas's defense, I think, more than fantastic plays by Jordan Love.
you realize that's exactly how Patrick Mahomes plays. Same things.
How has Patrick Mahomes looked this year?
Not too good. Not too
That's
good.
Well,
correct.
the only difference is Patrick Mahomes will look for a flag, whereas the other kid won't.
Patrick Mahomes still has a first ballot Hall of Fame tight end in his team, right? Like, you don't have those on Green Bay. You can't get away with shit like this long term. You can get away with doing some shit like this when you have fantastic pieces and a great casting crew. He doesn't have that in Green Bay. That's not something he can get away with long term.
I just thought about how they really kind of struggled against Chicago last week at home and just steamrolled Dallas. I don't know. And I don't think that they play – I know they won a bunch of games down the stretch to get in the playoffs, but I don't think that they dominated anyone really. I mean, he was good down the stretch, but who did they beat? I mean, that's the whole thing. Who did they beat? I don't know.
Now,
Freeze
who
warning.
is this?
Freeze warning.
Freeze warning. What is that picture he's got there? Freeze warning. Who is that in the picture there? Freeze. I wonder who that is for freeze warning. But go ahead, Grump. He says, how about that Jordan Love kid?
Yes, that's what he said. How about that Jordan Love kid? They not them boys. Talking about the Cowboys. James Farrell says, you guys on J Love's performance? I thought he was 16 for 20, 270 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions.
To wide open receivers.
Yeah, okay. But
I'm just saying, I mean,
I didn't think he was spectacular today, but he got the job done.
yeah.
And he didn't hurt his team. And I think he's got good vision down the field. At least he did. He has recently. It's early yet. It's like everyone wants to anoint someone the greatest ever after 1 week. Everyone.
He's not going to be a guy who's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. This is a guy to where maybe he'll be an above average QB. That's fine. Took him in the first round. That's what you're hoping for. Derek Monroe, Grump.
Excuse me. Hold on, please.
He says here, it's taken 6 years of being a starter for Mahomes to have a top 10 defense that can actually bail him out sometimes. X is acting like he's been doing that for 6 years now. Not the case, my friend. Here's the thing. Okay, Derek, you're trying to compare him to Tom Brady, and you're talking like, oh, well, I need ancillary piece A, B, or C in order to make it to where it's a fair fight. You shouldn't need a top 10 defense to bail you out game after game after game if you're the GOAT. You shouldn't be talking about that. You shouldn't be like, oh, well, it's not, we haven't had that. And that's what makes a difference. No, if you're the greatest of all time, you're not talking about, oh, well, our defense wasn't good enough. I didn't have this piece or that piece. You think Tom Brady was saying, oh, that first Super Bowl we won, Troy Brown really was able to foot the bill. I know. I just, you're fuck. Top 10 defense.
Yeah, okay. The game was played differently 25 years ago. It just was. Different game. The game has radically changed in the last 5 years. Absolutely. This year was almost a throwback where offenses don't score like they have been in just the last few recent years. Here's the thing. Kansas City's defense is really good this year. Really good. Their defense in other years, they've had good players on defense. When you're scoring so quickly all the time, your defense is on the field more and they get worn out. That's what happens. It happened with Marino and the Dolphins. If you're scoring in 2 minutes and your defense is out there 35, 38, 40 minutes a game, they're going to get worn out in the end, and they look worse than they are. Steve Spagnuolo is a really good defensive coach, really good. And he was there when Mahomes was playing the first time that they lost to Brady in the AFC Championship game. Spagnuolo was the DC, I believe. And he's been there every year since. So, and to say Kansas City's defense is miserable? I don't think so. I mean, they've had some really good players on that team defensively. I mean,
All right, let's really
know.
harp on that too much longer. I mean, unless there's something. I mean, like I just think it's as simple as that. If you're talking about the greatest of all time, you shouldn't be complaining, oh, one guy didn't have a top 10 defense long enough. If you're the greatest of all time, you're just able to do it. Simple as that. No fucking excuses.
You don't hear that's never an argument you ever hear for greatest anything ever. Is, well, somebody didn't do this or somebody didn't do that. No.
LeBron would have been the greatest of all time if he had Dwayne Wade on his team longer, if he had fantastic player A, B, or C on the team. No, if you're the greatest of all time, you're the greatest of all time. Simple as that. Okay, let's look at some memes.
Just
here.
Derek, keep trying. Keep trying.
I'm
here to educate. I'm here to educate.
Okay. Tua in meaningful games when it's not 80 degrees and sunny with palm trees gently swaying outside the stadium.
I am the worst football player.
Oh, God. Now, I know X sent me this too, but this is a good one as well. The Miami Dolphins versus good AFC teams. You know, honestly, when I see that, you know what this reminds me of when I see it? It reminds me a little of the Islanders, as odd as that may sound, right? Because we talk about, oh, well, we played so well against team A, B, and C. Oh, we look good against the Arizona Coyotes. We look good against this. Guess what? When you're in the playoffs, you're not playing the Arizona Coyotes. Miami Dolphins, when you're in the playoffs, you're not playing the Patriots. You're not playing you're not playing the Carolina Panthers. You're not playing the New York Giants. You're going to be playing teams like the Bills, the Chiefs, or the Ravens. So if you're not good enough to be good teams, you're just not very good.
I buy that.
Yep. Oh, gosh. Oh, man.
Eric Morrow says, let's not mention the fact Kelsey dropped 3 passes. Okay. Let's not mention the fact that Wes Welker dropped a pass in the 2011 Super Bowl where Grump was out. They were playing wide receivers as defensive backs. The Patriots were. And Wes Welker drops a pass that catching that pass, game's over. We're not going to talk about that either. Stop.
X, no more comments on Tom Brady allowed. Grumpy is on a Tom Brady rampage.
He can put anyone's he wants up.
I'll put up
I just want to educate him. I just want to educate him. He's young, so I'm
no more Brady comments, Grumpy and X.
More Brady.
Okay, roll.
What me Dolphins? What happened? How to lose my Kansas City Chiefs? Let's go. How about the Chiefs?
So this is the kid who also made the announcement in the 7th round. What happened, Miami Dolphins? What happened? There it is. Oh, that fella. He's happy. He's enjoying it. The Kansas City Chiefs. Oh, man. Drew also asked a question. I wonder where everybody's favorite Tua lover is, talking about Alexander. I wonder. We haven't seen Alexander the last few weeks ever since that Tua started to struggle. Haven't seen Alexander. I hope he's okay. Yeah.
He's okay. Drew says, freeze warning, the 3 goons running the podcast were so lucky that last Sunday's podcast got removed off YouTube. Otherwise, I was going to meme them to death.
On our predictions.
On the predictions. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm 1 for 3 on mine so far. I'm not doing too hot.
Me neither.
And I'm probably going to get this game wrong because I thought the Rams were going to win. So, yeah, not too good for me.
Goonu says, I finally unlocked the secret regarding the Islanders. They're just not a very good team. Good teams find a way to win. Bad teams come up just short. They find ways to lose. Even if they missed the playoffs by 1 point, it was deserved. Yeah.
And here's the thing. Even if they make the postseason, still not a good team.
James Farrell says that was the Cowboys' first home loss this season.
Wow.
When was the last time they won a playoff game?
1995.
Fuck, let me tell you. It's been a long time.
I think they won one just recently, but previous to the last one they won, it was like 1991 was the last time they won a playoff game. Or 90, whenever they won the Super Bowl, was the last time they won a playoff game. Drew says, but the Browns, I got wrong. Stroud is special. Texans look like a dark horse Super Bowl candidate. My prediction is you're going to see something a little bit different against the Baltimore Ravens come next Saturday.
Yep.
The Cowboys beat the Buccaneers in Tom Brady's last ever game.
That's right.
2022.
And that was the only game that Tom Brady ever lost to the Buccaneers. That's how he knew it was time to try. I lose to the Cowboys.
To the Cowboys.
In the playoffs, shit, time for me to hang it up. I could still probably come back and beat Patrick Mahomes, but I couldn't beat the Cowboys. Got to hang it up. Google says, which New York sports franchise is the most cursed overall? Rangers, Mets, Jets, or Knicks? Jets.
It's worth me putting this up here. Now, we talk about teams that have gone a long time since winning a playoff game. Oh, no, Grumpy. The Dolphins going for 24 games and counting without a single playoff win. Let me lower that shit. My God, that is loud. I'm sorry. I'm telling you, though, Dolphins have not won a playoff game in 24 years.
Again, next year from the same people, we'll hear Dolphins are great. They're going to win the Super Bowl. They're going to do this. They're going to do that. And at the end of the day, it's going to end just like this year did. They're not good enough. They don't have the quarterback.
Next year's our year, baby. Do you think they'll in Dallas they do tattoo cover-ups where they just go ahead and cover the last number up with a new one, like the next number? So
Super Bowl champions.
Yeah, exactly. 2024 Super Bowl champions. They'll be 2025 Super Bowl champions.
Don't you usually wait?
No, you got to jump the gun, man. You got to jump the gun. You got to be the first one to get it tatted on you.
That's how you show people that you're truly a believer in the team.
That's
You get a tattoo before it happens.
The Cowboys choked again in the playoffs. Go figure.
Yeah.
Joseph C. says Jordan Love might not be great, but this is how you develop first-round quarterbacks, in my opinion. Let them sit and learn before throwing them out there. Okay. Here's why not every team can do that. With the salary cap, you have to take advantage of the fact that your quarterback is a younger player who's on their rookie deal, so you can backfill around the rest of him with solid veterans to produce. Now, here's the difference with Green Bay. The majority of their team is really young. Unfortunately for Green Bay, by the time these guys all come due for contract, you're going to have 9, 10, 12 of your top players all hit free agency at the same time, and you're going to go into the tank. Yep. It's tough. In the olden days, this is how you did it. You would sit a guy for 3, 4, 5 years, and then once the starter aged out, they're ready to step in. That's not the way it is anymore. The issue with that last comment, Max, I'm not sure if you could put it back up. The issue with that last comment, or the issue with it for most teams, is they don't have most teams who draft a quarterback are in need of a quarterback. Yep.
Jordan Love was preemptively drafted many years before he was needed to be used, and a lot of teams can't do that. A lot of teams, think about it, because they did that, the relationship between Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay soured, and Rodgers left Green Bay. Now, right, how has that worked out since him leaving? Not well, obviously, because he tore his Achilles right off the bat, but he wanted them to draft pieces that would help their team perform better for now. And instead, in the first round, they drafted Jordan Love when they had current MVP winner Aaron Rodgers. They drafted running back from Boston College. Who's the big fella? A.J. Dillon, when they already had Aaron Jones. Yes. And then they drafted another tight end when they already had under contract Tanyan.
They were drafting defensive players the majority of the time. The Quay Walker kid, they were drafting defensive players when they needed help at wide receiver. That's what soured him. That was only 2 years ago.
Okay.
A.J. Dillon's been there for quite a while. A.J. Dillon's been there for quite a while.
It's the same draft that Jordan Love and the backup tight end was selected in the same draft. I'll pull it up and show you, Grumpy. Don't worry.
Okay, next comment.
You guys think Stafford going to the Rams is the same situation as John Tavares? No, the Lions traded him to the Rams.
Yeah, I think this game means a lot to him, though.
Oh, I think so.
A lot to Jared Goff.
Joseph C. says it's probably splitting hairs, but New York City is supposed to be the mecca of basketball and nothing since 1973. Is New York City really considered the mecca of basketball? I thought that was like Indiana.
Yeah, Indiana. They actually just built a basketball court in their airport.
Where's the Basketball Hall of Fame? I don't know where it is.
I
think it's
in
Springfield somewhere up where it was invented, where the game was invented.
Springfield,
Okay, what are we
Missouri.
looking at?
So just to show you here, right? It was the 2020 draft was where things started heading sour when they drafted Jordan Love with the first round pick. They already had Aaron Jones as the running back, and they drafted AJ Dillon. I'm sorry, they had Robert Tonyan, and they drafted Josiah, whoever the hell this is, as a tight end. They went ahead and picked a whole bunch of players who were going to be filling in as backups in the first round, second round, and third round selections. And that's when things started to sour with the relationship between Aaron Rodgers. Because this is the next year, he talked about sitting out before he signed that huge extension, and then he just said, "Fuck it, trade me." So this is where things all to head downhill.
You realize Tanyan's not even on the team.
He was in 2020 when they drafted Josiah, the backup tight end at the time. That is what I'm telling you.
But Tanyan wasn't very good. They let him go, and they drafted 2 tight ends this year because he wasn't good enough. Okay.
What TJ is saying is he was on the team and was good.
I understand.
At the time.
They need a wide receiver. Yes. He wanted a wide receiver in the first round. They wouldn't get him a wide receiver.
This was the problem. Exactly. The problem was in this draft, they drafted 3. Their first 3 picks were all backups. AJ Dillon is still the backup. Josiah, whoever the hell this is, still the backup. Jordan Love now is the starter, but was the backup for 3 years. The issue that soured the relationship was in this year's draft, the first 3 selections they had were all backups instead of picking players that could help the team. So, who knows what they did to actually impact the window to win, but maybe it works out for who knows. So they did definitely something drastic, and it ruined the relationship with the first ballot Hall of Fame quarterback in Aaron Rodgers because of that draft.
They're the youngest team in the league. I don't think you can really complain about what they do in the draft. I just don't. Here's the thing. Aaron Rodgers is a loser. He never wins. So at the end of the day, I don't care what.
Does he won a Super Bowl?
Yeah, he won 1 Super Bowl.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, but he lost the last 4 NFC championships he went to. He lost, and they were at home. 3 of them were at home. Matter of fact, you want to hear this one? Tampa Bay had never won a game where the temperature was below 35 degrees until Brady goes into Green Bay, and all of a sudden they're able to beat the Packers. That's what I'm saying. If players win games, so all that. Aaron Rodgers is a fraud. He absolutely is.
Oh, Grumpy.
Absolutely.
Oh, Grumpy.
Like I said, if you ask me in a big game, if I'm taking Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady, it's Tom Brady.
God damn, when I'm talking about fucking Tom Brady.
I'm just saying, he's not a winner. He's not a winner.
There you go. Keep reading comments.
Who says, yep, I can already tell this Lions game is going to be a shootout. 21-17 at half.
Agreed.
Yep.
Joseph C. says Kansas City's defense is underrated. If they had a number 1 wideout, I think they would be favorites to win another Super Bowl. Yeah. Baltimore's really freaking good. John Harbaugh might lose in the game, but they're really good. Mark Andrews coming back.
49ers are winning. 49ers are winning the Super Bowl this year. Absolutely.
This sounds like Oregon, Washington again, doesn't it?
Maybe it kind of sounds like Michigan against
Alabama. Brock Purdy will have 4 or 5 interceptions if they play Baltimore again.
Baltimore killed them in San Francisco, annihilated them.
Baltimore's not making the Super Bowl.
Okay, who's beating them?
I'm telling you, Harbaugh's beating them.
Which team is going to knock them off?
I'm telling you, they're not making the Super Bowl. I can promise you they're not making the Super Bowl. You have any thoughts on that, Grump?
I disagree. I think they are. I think the Baltimore Ravens are the team to beat. They've beaten everybody. They have the highest winning, except for the Steelers, who are going to lose tomorrow. They have the highest strength of victory in all the playoffs.
Yep.
So good luck. Good luck. Everybody else's strength of schedule: 410, 415, 390, 563 for Baltimore. Baltimore's freaking good.
They're battle tested.
They're really good. Really good.
Battle tested. Okay.
They are.
I'm telling you this much. 49ers will win the Super Bowl this year. Okay.
We'll see.
Doing
They
good.
don't have a quarterback. Gugun says, TJ, What made you decide to go back to the Burt Reynolds stash midwinter?
I just was like, I just wanted to shave it off today. Said, yep, I'm going back to just a stash. And here it is.
James Brown said Kansas City will lose next week. Maybe.
It'll be an interesting game. I hope they play the Bills.
I think it will be the Bills. And the Bills are another team. Haven't been great this year, but you know what? They're battle tested. They seem to win every week. Drew says, speaking of the Dolphins fans, where's Alex? He seems to be in hiding.
I don't know. We need to put an APB out on.
Oh, APB. Joseph C says, have to believe McCarthy gets fired after this debacle. Wonder if Belichick goes to Dallas. That's my thoughts. Perfect situation for him. James Farrell says, I'm so sick of Kermit Mahomes complaining on every single play. Grow up, bro.
Now, hold on. The one thing I will say, I'm not upset with Swift having fun at games. I'm upset with the league just pandering to anybody who's not a real fan. Like, this is why you should watch. We're going to show you videos of Taylor Swift dancing every single 10 minutes. I'm like, I don't dislike her having fun. Good, have fun at the game. But I'm like, why do I need to get an update every single 5 seconds as to what she's doing in the stand? Show me the fucking game and start breaking down some film as I'm watching the game. That's all I want to see. Nothing else.
Why do I think that she choreographed everyone in that box to do the thing? You want to know who look at this?
They all do these dance. No, they're grumpy. They just do this dance.
That's the swag surf dance. Yes. That's.
You want to know who's the person who never thought they were going to know anybody famous? The Kelsey's mom.
She looks thrilled.
Like,
she says, I can't even bear to listen to your music, let alone.
No, here's the thing. I'm happy she's having a good time, have fun, enjoy it. But I'm like, man, I'm just sick and tired of the league and the telecast crews just pandering every single time. Because guess what? Next week, if they're going to Buffalo and she happens to attend that game, we'll be seeing about 20 different clips of Taylor Swift up in the highlights. Oh man, look at that catch by Travis Kelce. Whoop! Pan over here to see what Taylor Swift's reaction. Yay, she clapped. Oh man, look how enthused she is. I'm like, I'm just sick and tired of it. You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of that one summer when Blake Griffin was slamming the basketball all the time. Oh, this is Blake Griffin's recent slam dunk of the evening. I'm like, I don't need to see this every day. It's worn thin on me, and it's the same thing with the Taylor Swift stuff. I'm like,
Josh Allen will win the game for the Bills. He'll be player of the game, and they'll be like, well, we know Josh Allen won player of the game, but let's go ahead and look at what Taylor Swift's doing. Oh, look at her getting into her car. Oh, it's crazy. Look at her and Travis leaving the building. We don't care about Josh Allen winning the game.
Now they're hyping right now.
Oh,
22 million viewers watched on Peacock. I would have liked to see Taylor Swift stick her tongue on the glass and have it stick like A Christmas Story. I think that would have been funny. Have the police come in, the fire department, all that stuff, and get her tongue off.
Alrighty, X. Let's get
we need to boycott this shit if they play another playoff game on streaming service. I ain't watching.
They will not do it the rest of the year.
They shouldn't.
They won't.
It's absolute horse shit. Next comment.
Mahomes had 303 yards in the fourth coldest game in NFL history. You sure he needs the refs?
Oh, we just talking about like scampers. So like the guy threw for like 250 yards. They manhandled the team and he scampered for a few.
0-2.
I'm glad he took care of what he should have against a decimated Miami Dolphins team and a Miami Dolphins team that only beat one team with a winning record, which was the Dallas Cowboys, who got run off the field this afternoon. So
0-2.
Yep.
0-2.
Yep.
That never changes, Derek. It never will. 0-2.
Okay.
Drew says, so far, Josh Reynolds has been masquerading as Amon St. Brown today.
Making some
Let's
good
go to
catches.
the next one. James Powell says, you want to stop holding cocks on the line.
Calls
on the line. Go back to only block with your arms, not with your hands, just like in the old days of blocking. Yeah. Well, that's how they made it. They've always wanted to have more offense. That's why they let the offensive linemen hold. They let the defensive backs. They won't let them touch the wide receiver. That stuff. It's ruins the game though. James Farrell says, "You think the Dolphins in a hot seat for new coach?" No, not at all.
I think McDaniels is fantastic. I think Mike McDaniel is a hell of a coach. I think he's a nerd. I think there's a lot of things I'll call him, but here's the thing. If they didn't have that system, that Miami team is not making the postseason.
If they didn't have Tyreek Brown,
Tyreek
Hill, that team does not make the postseason. Drew says, I still think Kansas City will lose to Baltimore when it's all said and done. I think regardless of rest, Buffalo just isn't good enough to beat them, considering even Diggs has slowed down. They did beat them in Kansas City like a month ago. So, Freeze Warning says, Man City sure missing Holland, ain't they? Man City won 8 and drew once without him. De Bruyne makes that team, as well as a couple other role players. They've won trophies without Holland since some forget.
When was the last time they had won?
Without Holland.
What was that, X?
I said they can never win Champions League without Holland.
Yeah, I said, when's the last time they won an international trophy outside the little walls of England without Holland?
They won Champions League last year. And honestly, for me, I thought Holland was the missing piece. I don't think he scored in the finals, and he really wasn't great against Real Madrid, but he draws so much attention, it frees up other guys. That's what I mean. And I think he's a tremendous finisher. I really do. I think he's extremely good. He's the problem with Erling. What's his first name? Erling Haaland is he gets hurt sometimes, and for a young guy, that's problematic.
Just like his dad. So I'll say this here too. I know a lot of people put a lot of stock and they love to see, we won the Premier League. That's fantastic. I know it's something that Liverpool can't do and they haven't done in like decades. But for City, it's just year in, year out that they're able to do that because they've got fantastic manager. But when it comes down to a one-game event, it's not the manager that wins you that, right? A manager can help you win a Premier League title because you're talking about 38 games, how you prepare, what type of tactics you have make a big role in that. Yeah. You're talking about one isolated game. The players on the pitch win that game, not the manager.
I think depth and injuries are extremely important for winning league titles as well.
That's true.
Next comment, X. Joseph C. says the Steelers couldn't fly into Buffalo. I think that was the big issue, and they didn't want fans to travel. They don't give two shits about the fans. Don't for a second think that the NFL cares about the fans. They do not. Absolutely not. No. The Steelers could have flown in a day early. Absolutely, they could have. They could have told them, fly in a day early. They could have done that.
You've got snow on the radar. Fly in a day early, please.
A day early. They never cancel games. I'm telling you, this is an NFL production all the way. Let's have 3 straight days. They probably forgot it was Martin Luther King Day on Monday. So they're like, holy shit, everyone has off. Cha-ching. Let's have 3 straight days of doubleheaders. No one's going to watch anything else but football Monday from 4:30 on. Yep. Drew says, Tua has that Russell Wilson energy. What energy do both have in common? The cornball energy.
The energy of throwing.
Goon says, if Salah sucks the teat again next year, how about Mr. Flores for the most unenviable job on the planet? Head coach of the New York Jets. I think Brian Flores, unfortunately, when you accuse your owner of being a racist and everyone else in the organization, you're not getting another job. That's just not happening. Not a head
worried.
Coach anyway. It's going to hurt him. It's going to hurt him. And I like Brian Flores, and I think he's an excellent football coach. But when you do something like that, man, you burned a bridge.
They've got a black general manager, a black head coach. I don't know how he can be racist, but here's the thing. I think McDaniels is a better coach. I think the world of Brian Flores. I think McDaniels is a better coach than Brian Flores as head coach. And that's a lot. I like goofing on McDaniel. I do. But I think his system, they don't have the same results without him. Remember, it was a toxic environment with Brian Flores. It just was.
Yeah. He comes from Belichick thing. And I just think Miami players are freaking soft. And you see it. You see it. Just watch them. A team to implode every year, Miami Dolphins. You don't even have to. Well, who? Oh, Miami. Well, who's playing for second for the team that's going to implode at the end of the year? They're just soft. They're soft. Joseph C. says, I think Frank Fleming is the reason why the Dolphins lost. He curses all the teams he cheers for. Well, I don't know about that. I'll take your word for it. James Farrell says, I think Buffalo should change their minds in putting a dome in a new stadium. Why? It's like that. Talk about home field advantage. It's playing outside. Why do we want every single state, everything to look the same? Look at cars. I remember when cars, they were all different. You had a different make and model. They just look different. Now everything's practically the same. They all look almost identical. Diversity, I like it. Johnny Mac says another Miami playoff loss. Yeah, sorry, Johnny Mac. Why can't I like teams that know how to win? It's a curse.
Yes.
Mets, Islanders, Dolphins, Auburn.
Make sure to highlight Auburn.
Derek Monroe says he should still have a higher winning percentage. Percentage only dropped to 75%.
The math is not mathing. You can't go from 80 to 75 with the amount of playoff games. That means you'd be on his 20th playoff game, dropping 5% a loss.
Now when Tom Brady threw his first number of playoffs, he had like a 900 winning percentage. So, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. He was 1,000% after his first 3 years in the playoffs.
No more Brady.
Google says Jack Capuano or Lane Lambert? Lane Lambert.
Yeah.
If he lost to the Bills. Well, we're going to find out.
Yeah.
Google says, Son X, the Islanders have been sucking since your Islanders fleece blanket is no longer seen on camera. Is it time to gingerly place it back where it once belonged? Is this request too strong? He's over my house today.
Mm-hmm.
So none of his stuff traveled with him.
Nope.
Freeze Warning says, might be modern thought similar to NCAA football, but shouldn't the Eagles host the Bucks and the Browns hosted the Texans since those teams have better records? Given division champs, automatic home advantage is a bit much. No, I totally disagree. Totally disagree. You get rewarded for winning your division. Derek Moreau says, I never saw Brady run for more than 22 yards on a single carry. Mahomes does that shit every week. Brady never broke his helmet like Mahomes did last night. Oh, Derek. Tom Brady's a quarterback. Tom Brady's a quarterback.
I've never seen Patrick Mahomes win 7 Super Bowls. Okay, next comment.
I've never seen Brady in a playoff game. There's a lot of things I've never seen and never will.
I'm just, you know what, Derek? Once he gets 5 Super Bowl rings, how about that?
Once he gets 7, come back and talk to me. So that's I don't even have to worry about that. Johnny Mac says it's a good thing I was around as a kid for the 70s and the 80s. It was a great time. Wasn't it, Johnny Mac? Yes, it was. Goon says, gentlemen, could Bo Derek have had a successful career if it was solely judged on her acting ability?
Probably
not. She was the 10 girl. Derek Monroe says, you forgot both of home Super Bowl wins were 10-plus point comebacks. Yeah, is that the Brady already been there and done that? Thanks. Jimmy Garoppolo. And who is the other? And Jalen Hurts.
Jalen Hurts with the fumble, right?
Jalen Hurts fumbles the ball. Nobody near him. Runs it in for a touchdown.
That's
10 points?
Patrick Mahomes.
I don't think that was 10 points. I think that tied it up. It made it 14.
It did tie it up.
So I think Derek's. No, here's the thing. I'm not going to question.
Oh, they blew that game. There was a big lead. They started leading halftime.
The Mahomes.
He's slurping on the Mahomes Kool-Aid. So, and Derek again. He's not going to still playing at 40 because he gets out of the pocket and runs, unlike pocket pussy Brady. He won't be playing at 40 because he gets paid a lot of money, and he won't be any good when he gets that old. That's what happens when you want to scramble and run around a little bit. He gets hurt a lot. Brady got hurt 1 year. Other than that, he never missed a freaking game. Ever in his career. The 1 year with the torn ACL. Other than that, never missed a game, Derek. Never.
Let's continue along with the comments, please. Grump.
Drew says Sam Laporta's still balling out. Spot having a knee injury. What a legend.
I didn't even think he was going to play today. The way he was carted off the field, I was like, that's it. I said, he tore his knee up. He's done. And he's out there. Caught a touchdown pass. Good for him.
Yep.
He's a game changer for them for sure.
Goon says, Grumpy, are you referred to as Grumpy by other family members, Uncle Grumpy, Brother Grumpy, etc., and by coworkers, Dr. Grumpy, Honorable Grumpy Esquire? No. The only one who really calls me Grumpy is TJ and sometimes X.
All the time. That's the only thing I refer to Grumpy as. He's no longer anything else but Grumpy.
Don't worry, my name has officially changed to X as well.
X. X.
Oh man.
It makes it so I don't mess up during the show and start calling people by their
Oh
real
my God,
name.
TJ, no. Why bring back the pedo stash? I think he asked that twice.
Pedo.
Joseph C says Jalen Hurts is a game manager too. Sorry.
I like Jalen Hurts.
I don't think he's a great quarterback, but I don't think he's a game manager either.
He can change the game with his legs.
Yeah,
I can't really change it with his arm, but he can change it with his legs.
Yeah.
I don't think much of Jalen Hurts.
Because he came from Oklahoma. That's why you don't think much.
Yeah,
of him.
Absolutely. If he went to Pittsburgh, TJ think he's a great
sliced bread. Yeah. You think that 12 touchdowns in a career after your first 3 years playing is phenomenal.
That's not very good.
Here's what I think about Jalen Hurts. I think he's a guy who production has always been spotty at best. Throwing,
he's produced more than Kenny Pickett has.
The reason he was able to throw the ball is because the run, what he does with his legs, opens up passing with the ball. Here's the thing,
Sounds
though.
like Kenny Pickett figure out how to do that.
Eventually, your legs go on you, and you can't generate from running the football. Just can't be done. It's the same pace.
Okay, well, here's my thing. Hurts is generating touchdowns now. Kenny Pickett can't even generate touchdowns now. So what makes you think later on in his career he's going to be able to generate touchdowns? It's not like
Jalen Hurts is a better quarterback than Kenny Pickett. Are you confused?
Oh, I thought you were going to say Kenny Pickett's better than Hurts.
No. Well, I'm just saying I don't think much of Jalen Hurts. Kenny Pickett's a backup right now in the league. What do you want me to say about him? He's a guy who's not a starter.
You had said when he was drafted he was going to be like phenomenal, one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Did say that.
I didn't. I
You
did.
absolutely did.
Absolutely did.
Maybe you should go back and watch the draft day coverage again to remind yourself, X.
And you said great pick by the Steelers,
Great pick.
franchise quarterback.
Top 10
Probably
quarterback in
going to
the league.
be better. You took the Josh Rosen stance and was like, you know what? I think he's going to win more Super Bowls than Brady.
Ooh.
Continue on, please.
Gungun says, can John Morant turn his life around? Grumpy, for a proper fee, would you offer him a shoulder to cry on?
$50 million, yeah,
I'd give him some tough love. That's what I would give him.
for a huge fee.
Yeah, it'd have to be a fee, though. Absolutely. Joseph C. said, what's your guys' thoughts on DeBoer getting the Alabama job, by the way? Think it's a great hire. I do, too. I think that's a great hire for Alabama to go from Sabre. And I think DeBoer's a good coach. Turn that Washington program around in 4 years.
You thought he was a good coach up until the Texas game, and you thought he was a moron.
Yeah. I thought he could have cost his team the game for certain.
This is Grump. He's like a windshield wiper. He keeps flipping back and forth. You suck.
You're good. You suck. You're good. Hey, do something good, you're good. You do something shitty, you suck. What can I tell you? Google says, Son X. I can't recall if this was asked before, but do you also suffer from a music phobia a la TJ? If not, who are some pop or rock artists that make your toes tap and tingle?
No, I like to listen to music. I listen to all different kinds of music. I really wouldn't say that I have a specific artist that's like my all-time favorite. I listen to everything. I listen to pretty much whoever's popular out now. I'll listen to their music. And then it'll change within a month. Somebody else will become popular and I'll listen to their stuff. And so on and so forth.
Nick A says, Hack Prescott.
That's right.
That's pretty right. He's not great. Drew says, damn, Dan Campbell makes games super interesting. I'll say that, although the refs blew an offsides call on the Rams.
I'm going to get, by the way, that's what I'm doing something real quick. I'm pulling up the moment that Kenny Pickett was drafted so we can actually hear what was said and discussed. If you want it. If you want it.
Magically, guess what? If I'm right and he said that he was going to be a good quarterback, magically the footage will be, I can't get the footage. You won't let me ask that. Yeah, you get ready for some of that shit.
Brainer 954 says, didn't the Cowboys win one playoff game with Blomo? No, I don't think he ever won a playoff.
Wow, I can't believe that. I thought he at least won
I don't
one.
think he ever won one.
Jesus.
Gungun says, what would have happened today if the quarterback for the Packers was Rodgers? Would they have been as skilled as the Harlem Globetrotters? They would have lost. Somehow they would have lost that game.
All righty. You ready to see? This is
No, actually, hold on. I change it. It's not an NFC championship game, so they might have won that one. Freeze warning says, need some Roll Tide Willie videos featured on here. Haha. Great hire in DeBoer. Dude just wins wherever he goes and is keeping Saban involved throughout everything. Got to appreciate that.
Yeah, apparently Saban is not. He's like just having less of a role. He's still going to be involved with Alabama.
Okay.
That's what I've heard.
That's a bad thing.
Yes.
That's not good. Cut the umbilical cord. Cut the apron strings. You don't want to coach here anymore. You want to retire. Actually retire, because the last thing you want is the athletic director. If something goes a little awry, hey, let's go talk to Nick about this. Can't do it. Won't work.
Hey, we need to go ahead and we need to change up what's going on here. All righty, let's go ahead and bring Nick in as an interim coach real quick.
Yeah.
Drew L says Green Bay didn't care about Rodgers once they drafted Jordan Love. They took Love so that Rodgers could groom him into being their future quarterback. Clearly, it's worked out. I won't agree on that.
Okay.
They built a team around Love, not Aaron.
Okay. TJ, do you have a comment on this?
It's just not true.
X, do you have a comment on this?
I don't think Jordan Love is all that great.
Okay. Starting quarterbacks are not grooming their freaking replacements. They absolutely do not groom their replacements. You want to know who grooms the replacement? A guy who's a third-string quarterback veteran. The guy who's a starter is never going to groom someone to take their job. It is never going to happen. Never has happened. Never will happen. Just doesn't happen. I'm sorry.
Okay. Grumpy, let me ask you this. Are you ready to listen? Because you were talking about Kenny Pickett too. We were talking about it beforehand. The draft day coverage. Let's get through the comments first, and then we'll put that up afterwards as the draft day coverage.
It should be fun. Next comment, please.
I have not listened to it. I just got to the spot where we're talking about wouldn't it be a good fit?
He knows something. He knows something.
I have not listened. I promise you, I've not listened because it would be two different audio feeds.
Oh shit! He has it on recording and listens to it every night.
I have it pre-clipped. I've got it pre-clipped.
He wears his little Pickens kitten mittens, and he's like, "Ooh, I can pleasure myself to Kenny Pickett videos."
He goes, Kenny.
All righty.
Hi.
All righty. Let's get to the next comment, huh, X?
Drew says, I'm rooting for the Niners. I want to see we hoop and cry and destroy his attic. Now, I will say, I think that kid would be freaking insufferable if they won.
I think he would maybe if they lost the game, I think he might burn down the house.
What? His mother's house. So what would happen if they won? Maybe he blows an aneurysm and we don't have to see him again.
You don't blow an aneurysm, but maybe he has an.
You'd probably hear.
Boom!
You'd probably hear Ravens.
I'm kind of rooting for the Ravens now, just so we can see that video.
Super Bowl champions.
He would absolutely be crying on stream, and I would be all for it too. For it.
If they lose, he might destroy his Ravens jerseys, though.
You better watch out, Grumpy. You're within a close radius, and so is X. You might have to worry about arsonist on the town.
Local fire started near Charlottetown.
Okay, sounds like a stupid comment, but I'll read it anyway. Drew says X might know about this, and this isn't meant to roast Alex, but X.
Okay, it absolutely is roasting him.
Doesn't Alex look like the YouTuber Boogie 2988?
No, 2988.
2988. What did I say? Didn't I say
2988 is what it is.
What did I say?
2988.
Well, 2988. What the hell's the difference?
He's Boogie 2988 is who he is. Now that is definitely roasting Alex.
Can we see this? I'm interested to see it.
Boogie 2988 is not an endearing looking individual.
Okay. All right.
Like, continue on with comments, please, X.
Drew says, by the way, speaking of Peacock, if you saw the game, whoever worked in the broadcast room everyone needs to be fired. The amount of mistakes Peacock made during this game was unacceptable.
Oh, here's a little snippet. I'll pop it up for a second. This is Boogie. It's not very nice, Alex, or not very nice, Drew.
Not nice, Drew.
Ooh, that's not nice.
Not nice is right. Continue along.
Says, that looks like TJ's beard, though. Gugun says, should we check to see if We Hoopin' has anything to say regarding his beloved?
Yes, I need to get a prediction.
We did it last week.
If anybody has the predictions on what's going to happen for We Hoopin', please put that up. Send that to us, Drew L, so we can understand what they're thinking about for We Hoopin'. But continue along there, X, so we can get here to the wrapping this up here.
Come on, X. Drew says, Grumpy and X, is it me? Is it just me or does TJ seem grumpy when he always does the TJ and Grumpy Old Man podcast? He's a fucking tyrant.
He's grumpy all the time.
He's a tyrant.
Tyrannical.
Because Grumpy does certain things he's not supposed to do. I don't get so happy when he does things he's not supposed to do. Freeze warning, Grump.
Speaking of this being a sports podcast, needs some more attention to college basketball. Wild week with a lot of the top 10 teams losing, and it's crickets on here. Top 10 teams were combined 9-10 this week. You know what's funny? A lot of people know I'm a Duke fan, and I'm like, okay, Duke has won a lot of games in a row, but it's like they've only moved up like 5 or 6 spots, and you see all these teams losing. They're still out of the top 10. I'm like, how the hell are they not in the top 10? They'll absolutely be in the top 10 this week.
I don't know. I've just lost interest in college basketball since COVID happened.
Yeah, COVID
it killed it for me.
Yeah.
It killed it for me. I'll pick it up again during March Madness, but I used to watch every single regular season Duke game. I can't tell you the last time I watched a regular season Duke game. Couldn't tell you.
Yep.
Ryan Richards says, "What's up, boys? What's up?" Freeze warning says, apparently DeBoer had an interview for the Bama job before the college football title game, and Bama AD Greg Biner flew out to Seattle the same day Saban retired. Decision was final within 48 hours of Saban announcing his retirement.
That's, in my opinion, that was bullshit that he took away time from game plan and go fucking interview for a job. I'm happy that Alex mentioned that because I forgot that had happened. But some bullshit in my opinion.
It's kind of like everyone knew Parcells was leaving the Patriots.
Bill Belichick.
Before the Super Bowl. When you're doing that, how focused are you on the task at hand? And that could explain some things, honestly. Next comment, please. Derek Monroe says, not too many quarterbacks that can say they're 500 against Brady. Well, Mahomes can't. Not in the games really counted. 0-2. 0%.
Okay, hold on. Are we like putting a feather in our cap saying we were 500 against a 40-year-old quarterback and Tom Brady? Please, anytime these are just seriously, is that what you're trying to say, that they belong in the same conversations? Patrick Mahomes, while playing with Tyreek Hill in the prime of his career and Travis Kelce in his prime of his career, 2 Hall of Fame caliber receivers, went 500 against a 40-year-old Tom Brady. Hold on a second. Woohoo! I'm like, is that what we're celebrating?
Actually, I think he was 41.
This is, you know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of fucking loser Islander fans' mentality of, we're getting loser points. Everything is good. Have higher standards. If you're going to compare yourself against the greatest of all, have higher standards. I'm not a Tom Brady guy, but have higher standards.
I am. Derek Morrow says, final comment on this topic. Brady versus Mahomes is tied 3-3 head-to-head all time. So saying he never got it done against Brady is simply not true. Okay. Regular season is not the postseason. It's okay. Just not. It's like saying Tua is a great quarterback in the regular season. How is he in the postseason? When it's nut cutting time, how is he? Simple as this. 0-2.
He played and had a 500 record against a 40-plus-year-old quarterback, while he had 2 future first ballot Hall of Fame wide receiver and tight end on his team. And he came in with a 500 record against a 40-something-year-old quarterback. That's not something you should be priding yourself in.
Except in the playoffs, 0-2.
Okay. I do want to go ahead. Okay.
James Farrell said, I heard that they were going to move the Buffalo game to another city. They could have moved it to MetLife Stadium. They're not moving it. They're not doing it. It was never even an option. They just moved it from Sunday to Monday because, well, that gives us 3 days of doubleheaders. Freeze warning says, Man City would have beaten Bayern in Champions League without Haaland. That's just the math of it. Take out his goals, they still win that matchup.
Here's the thing. The first game that they played, Haaland had 1 goal, and I can't remember who on Bayern scored. Without Haaland's goal, they're down a game now. They're down 1-0. Who's to say Bayern doesn't just sit back and play counterattack defense for the second game? A lot of shit can change.
Man City didn't beat Bayern.
Man City did beat Bayern
in
last year in Champions League.
I'm talking about in the finals. Bayern wasn't that good last year.
Still, that game was a draw without – that game would have been a loss without Haaland, first game.
Haaland was the missing piece for Man City. Sorry, Freeze Warning. It just was. Drew says, well, Dan Campbell came from the Tony Sparano coaching tree.
Tony
He
Sanders.
was also with Sean Payton for a bit before he got the Lions job. And Sean Payton came from the Bill Parcells coaching tree. And Dan Campbell played for the New York Giants. So, Freeze One, he says, TJ's mind seems to have left him. Liverpool win EPL in 2020 and have won 19 top-flight league titles. He might want to put more attention to Burnley getting out of a regulation battle. Uh-oh. Sounds like Freeze Warning knows a little something about something.
Are we celebrating there, Al, the COVID Premier League victory when all the teams are playing with no crowds in the stands? Is that what we're celebrating?
Yes.
Oh, wait, hold on.
Home atmosphere makes zero impact on world football. Go ahead there. Go ahead,
Okay.
X.
I'll just say one.
Can
Can I just say one thing? Liverpool can't beat Real Madrid. Next.
Nope.
Frank Kaplan says, go Packers. Gungu says, Grumpy, was it a low point or high point for Son X when he ate an exorbitant amount of food at your house a few months back? Well, tonight as well. And backed up your golden toilet. He has absolutely backed up the toilet before. And the warden buys him whatever he wants. She's out buying stuff just for whenever he thinks he might come over. She's out buying. Oh, sure. Anything you want, X. Anything you want out of the pantry. Anything. Don't worry. We'll get plenty of for you. That's a fact. That's true. Is that not true, X?
That is a fact.
Next comment.
That's a fact.
Drew said, oh, my goodness. Guy just stepped on freaking Matthew Stafford. Drew says, Lions O-line is just triple teaming Aaron Donald tonight. Seems like a smart thing to do. That explains why Goff has looked fantastic. Well, you know something? What should we do? Just one-on-one and let him get run over? That's what you do. You game plan around a guy who's a difference maker. That's what you do.
Yeah.
Drew also mentions, look, TJ, all I know is the victim of Myles Garrett's helmet slam is way better than Pickett, and he's not even good either.
Yeah.
Mason Rudolph.
Here's the thing. The one game that he played without offensive coordinator Matt Canada, he looked better, and then he got hurt immediately in it. And they changed QBs. So we shall see. We shall see. Drew Grumpy.
CJ Garner-Johnson needs to be ejected. He just elbowed Kyron Williams in the head. Of course, no call by the refs. I think you're allowed to elbow guys in the head.
Not so much. Goon.
With each mounting cruel Islander losses, Phil's facts inching closer and closer to a year-long exile. All right. Now, here's the thing. We talked to Phil last night after the game, and he's ready to pack in life. I had to talk him down off the lead, and he was tweeting like crazy. I said, get them all out of your system because you won't be able to do it for quite a while.
That is true. I can verify all this. That is true.
By the way, TJ, are you going to talk about Phil's meltdown he had on Twitter after the Islanders got thrashed by the Predators? We talked to him in person. I felt bad for him. He's losing his mind. He just should have listened to us to begin with. He'd save himself a lot of aja. Goon says, Son X, do you feel that your talent agent should see about getting you a raise for all the additional work you do behind the scenes for the Islanders Never Say Die podcast?
I need a hefty raise.
Hefty raise from the zero he gets now.
Hefty.
We want to bring X on and be part of the show, but he refuses.
I don't know enough about him.
Here's the thing. I think X was paid quite a bit today. All the food that the mother, the warden, special little drinks for him.
Are you talking about the food that she got from Harris Teeter for free? Is that the one you're talking about?
I'm talking about the little bottle of the apple cider that you seem to like.
Oh, $3. Hold on. Not even $3. $3 for a 3-pack.
A whole bag of Kit Kats because
that was free.
X likes Kit Kats.
The Kit Kat bag still has.
So hold on. Are you trying to throw the warden under the bus because she saved a little bit of money?
No, I'm just saying. Don't make it sound like the warden paid exorbitant amounts.
What else? What else are you not taking some food home with you this evening, Mr. X?
Food that you're going to throw away because
we weren't throwing the food away.
Yes, you absolutely were going to throw it away.
The warden was going to eat it.
Wrong.
But let me ask you a question.
Wrong.
Are you complaining about that food that she's giving? What about little dog Z?
I'm not complaining
What
at
about
all.
dog
I'm
Z?
not complaining at all. I'm just
who eats more food. Let me tell you something. Dog Z, I'm glad he came back today. He looked like he was emaciated. He came here Friday. He was here Friday from 1 o'clock until what time? 6?
He was you're talking about the other day. Yeah, something like that.
1 to 6. He ate 4 buckets of food, half a chicken, and 18 treats. And then he had 4 gallons of water, peed and shit 8 times. I don't know what the hell he does, but he doesn't eat or drink over X's house. And he's like, can I bring Dog Z over today? I'm like, certainly you can. I'm sure he hasn't had anything to eat or drink since Friday.
Oh, how do you know? How do you know he had 18?
Good God.
How do you know he had 18 treats, Grumpy? Did you count them out when you handed them to
He
him?
gives him treats like it's freaking candy. X gives him treats. I even gave him a couple. He's a good little boy. He's taking a little nap right now. He's sitting right over there. We love him to death.
Yeah.
And honestly, I missed him tremendously before we saw him on Friday.
Oh my God, Drew L. That
Are
dumb
you
dog.
saying that the #1 Twitter cop has finally joined the dark side? Nah, F that. Should have listened to us, Phil. Now it's too late.
I demand an apology from him and his little goons.
He was. What was
Don't
he
hold
talking?
your breath.
Didn't he say what did he say last night? Didn't he say that he hopes the team loses the rest of the
He
year?
hopes they lose because at this point things are just irreconcilable. I'm not exactly quoting him, but it was something along those lines. I'm paraphrasing.
Oh, I had to call him up.
Yeah, he called us. Is actually what happened. He called us up, Grump.
Yeah, because
I made a tweet at what Grumpy said, and he called me up like 2 minutes later.
2 seconds later, bang. Gunu said, "Is the warden ever tempted to make a surprise appearance on the show? Will she ever grant permission for the plate video viewing?" That will probably be the last show we ever do. I think she said she can't do it while she's still working.
It's not that fucking bad.
I don't think it's that bad either.
But
you have to know the warden. That's what makes it so funny. And everyone who knows the warden knows that she does not use profanity. She doesn't do a lot of things.
What's
She doesn't
the
do a lot of that stuff. But the plate video, it's not her shining moment. She doesn't like it because it doesn't.
Man, I look really pale in this video. My God, unbelievably pale. But let's
You look like you do right now.
Get more hair.
More hair. Good one, X.
Okay, let's listen.
For Pickett.
I think it's a good spot for him. You know,
Franco Harris is waddled up onto the stage.
God.
He's dead now. And he looks old.
He is old. Grumpy.
Well, he is. He's dead. He won't be waddling up on the stage anymore.
Don't say it like that, though, Grump. My God.
He is dead. Isn't he?
Grump. How old is Franco Harris?
I think he's dead.
70s?
Damn
Is he
old.
dead?
I don't think he's in
I
his
don't know.
70s.
Oh, I don't know. Just listen to the
Stop
video.
speaking, Grump. We're trying to hear you talk over here.
Oh, I'm
We
sorry.
We could go ahead.
They're talking about the immaculate reception.
Jesus
which I
Christ, you
hated.
gotta take a
As a Raider fan back in the day, I hated that play. Hated it. Oh my God. Please tell me you're not going to show it on the big screen, you piece of crap to
Why the
death.
hell am I getting on with the freaking gosh? Yeah, Franco
They
Harris
have to stretch the
72
show
years old.
out. They
He's
got to
72
stretch the
years old.
show out. The teams are not buying in. They're picking way too fast.
72 years old, Grump.
72.
Told you. Grump, Yanks win again. The Yankees win. What a film saying, did you guys see the Bailey goal? First thing I thought of is Grump is going to be through the roof. How does Bailey score a goal like that and suck the rest of the time? I don't know. We haven't seen it. We've been live on the show since, but I'm sure it was a highlight reel goal.
Oh, man, he's old.
Is it typical the Islanders win again against the Washington Capitals? My God.
Kenny Pickett, quarterback from Pittsburgh, doesn't have to go. And now his girlfriend's all happy again.
Well, there you go. Well, we'll
Kenny-
know.
Kenny is crying. His dad squeezes his neck. The dad's crying. Everyone's happy for Kenny Pickett. Come on, Kenny. Suck it up. All right, I'm going to tell you what. I don't like him as a quarterback. He's crying on national TV. There you go.
Yeah, you must hate Tom Brady because he's the ultimate freaking crier.
I didn't see him. I don't see him crying.
Mm.
I just see him winning.
Oh, my gosh.
He's got his head still down. His girlfriend's hugging the dad. Everyone's cheering. Everybody except for Kenny. Where's Kenny's mom? I saw her over there before. It looks like she got knocked out of the way by the girlfriend. And the girlfriend's going, yeah, Kenny, how much is that contract worth? Should have won a few picks early. Could have made some more money.
Yeah. Well, I guess let me ask you this. How long until he's starter? How So here's the thing. Kenny Pickett, I think the reason he dropped and slid so far down off the boards because he had small hands. He's a guy who's got a really, really high floor. The ceiling is questionable. I think it's higher than what Grumpy does. You look at a guy who is mobile. Kenny Pickett is mobile, good 40-yard dash. He's quick.
He's not real big either.
6'2"?
Yeah, that's not real big for an NFL quarterback. I hate to tell you. He can move though.
He's smart with his decision making in the pocket. He does a good job of reading the field. I know people criticize him for a little low Wonderlic score, but you look at the progressions he's had throughout his time frame. With the Pitt Panthers, he's a guy who, had a wide receiver core that dropped a lot of passes his sophomore and junior season.
They just showed that little okey doke move where he faked going down in the ACC championship game. And then pulls up against and runs the rest of the way. And now they had to put a rule in effect that you can't do that anymore. But that's a good landing spot for Kenny Pickett, right? I mean, let's be honest. It's a stable franchise. Pittsburgh, the Steelers are a stable franchise.
And you look at the improvement he had from 2020 to 2021. In 2020, what Grump?
The New England Patriots have traded back.
Okay. Let's finish up real quick what it was, and we could talk about that trade back. In 2020, 13 touchdowns, 9 interceptions for Kenny Pickett. To 2021, 42 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Again, obviously, he did have Blitnikoff winner Jordan Addison as a wide receiver, again, who did get open. Kenny Pickett threw for, broke Dan Marino's passing records at the University of Pittsburgh, too. So you talk about he had a hell of a season, had a great season. Maybe because he was more of a one-year wonder, but, I think he's a guy who projects to be, maybe an average to an above average quarterback in the NFL. I don't think you're reinventing the wheel with a pick like this. I mean, that's if all things pan out, you're looking at an average to an above average quarterback. Wow. That's really me saying that he is spectacular is what that is. What are you doing, Grumpy? Oh.
Trying to get little Mr. Z here in the picture. There he is. Look at pick your head up, stupid dog. There he is.
All righty. Now I see X's. Okay, so even on draft night, I said average to an above average quarterback, not reinventing the wheel here at the spot. Just answer the question, average to an above average quarterback if all things pan out. That does not seem like I am raving and ranting on how fantastic I think he'll be.
X, do you feel he's been making excuses for Kenny Pickett ever since he's
Absolutely,
been in the league?
he's been making multiple excuses.
Everyone on the show. I remember the first game he played. He threw 3 interceptions, and you thought that was a good performance. I'd like you to bring that one up. Tell us how great he was after throwing 3 picks.
All I'm saying
in
is
half of a game. Yeah.
All I'm saying is this, Grumpy. Just like I had thought, my memory serves 100% correct. Unlike Grumpy and X's. Average to above average quarterback. Been saying it the whole fucking time. And now all of a sudden Grumpy's not going to be paying attention anymore.
Because I got a cute little dog. He's way more nice than you. He's a good boy. He's my little puppy.
All righty. Let's look at the last few comments here before we wrap things up. Oh. A few topics. Hockey topics. By the by, we have some updates on the highest winning percentage in the NHL. I'm sorry, highest points percentage in the NHL since November the 11th. Just take a look-see at this year, Grump.
Edmonton Oilers, well, I think they won 10 games in a row. Winnipeg Jets, before losing, I think they had like 11 wins in a row. Colorado Avalanche, 700%. They killed us. Florida Panthers, the Philadelphia Flyers, the Vancouver Canucks, and your Carolina Hurricanes. We're the Islanders.
I was about to say, remember how hot they got?
Yeah, they were hot.
A little losing streak they've been on, I guess, must have affected their spot on this.
Probably
because remember, they were making a lot of posts. Oh, look where the Islanders are in the last, from this date on in November. Well, not so great for us right now is where that leaves us. No longer hottest team in the NHL. Things fizzle out, and just like we've seen.
Yeah, I mean, that's to be expected, though, right? Let's be honest. It's to be expected. Sometimes you get hot. Sometimes you get cold.
Hot and you're cold.
For me, I just think that the Islanders were really hot for quite a while, like a quarter of the season. And right now they're barely in a playoff spot. I just think that's a problem.
Now, this is what we're talking about. Jeremy Swayman this year. I forgot he had to go to arbitration before he signed his contract. He said, after dealing what I had to deal with this summer with arbitration, hearing things that a player should never hear, it feels pretty special to be in this situation, being voted to the All-Star game. You think
That's
there's a
one
little
thing.
bit of bad blood lying underneath between the organization and Jeremy Swayman, you think?
It's never good to go to arbitration if you're the team. I remember Milbury did it, and he made Tommy Salo cry. And because you're trying to save your team money, right? That's what it's about. So all you do is say the negative things about a player. And I could see where it breeds a little bit of resentment. Absolutely.
The fact that they asked him, how did it feel getting voted into the All-Star game? Well, it feels pretty good because of how shitty I got talked about this summer in arbitration. That's the first thing that comes to your mind. Not great. This is a culmination of all the hard work I've had. I'm very excited to be given this opportunity. I think, it's great to represent the Boston. No, his response was, it feels pretty good after how I was spoken to this summer.
Well, yeah. And again,
what the fuck is going on over there? What's going on over there, X and Grumpy?
He needs to go to the bathroom.
Well, go walk him, man. Go take him out. What the hell can I tell you? We're just about done on the show. Don't matter. So, long story short, I'll just reiterate: it's never good to go to arbitration. The team doesn't want to do it because you have to run a player down.
Yeah,
and it's just not good. It's not good business. It just isn't.
Nobody wins when they go to arbitration. That's simple. Here you go. Free 20 says, Sun X forgets Man City beat Bayern 3-0 in the first leg, and Holland had 1 goal. They still win 2-0 without him. The second leg, they drew 1-1. Holland had a goal. Man City still win 2-1 without Holland. Your math.
Why couldn't they do it the year before that then?
Uh-oh.
Why couldn't they do it the year before that then? Why were they only able to do it when he got there? Explain me that.
Here's the thing. Alex. Here's the thing, Alex. He was the final piece for them. They could not get over the hump till they got him. He gave them an option in the middle, a really good option in the middle. He freed just him being on the pitch frees up other players to do things.
Your center backs can't be as loose covering out wide. They've got to be a lot more narrow in covering the possible header opportunity that's coming into the box to a guy who probably outsizes them and out physicals them. So changes, it makes you condense more in the back end, and that opens up more opportunity for wingers to do what they do. That's simple. Drew L says here, TJ really had the Discord moderation room back then. Plain and boring. All lights were turned off. Now TJ's podcast room is a little more lively thanks to the books that he never reads.
Now, TJ, are you still going to be using this area for podcasting when?
That's correct. Yes.
Oh boy, that should be fun.
If Zach Wilson flees from the Jets, does that mean less photos of Mrs. Wilson for Grumpy to gawk over?
Probably.
Yes, I think it does, unfortunately. Oh, man, that would be sad.
I mean, she's hot. She looks really good for whatever her age is. Drew says Kyron Williams did not suffer a concussion. Thank goodness.
Absolutely. For the final part of tonight's episode, how about a rare shot of Grumpy and X in the same shot, waving goodbye to thousands of fans?
Oh, hold on, get up here.
Here we go. Come on, X. Woo!
Whoa! Looky there.
Oh,
Get
hold on.
the
He's being
treat.
attacked by Dog Z. Watch it. He's hitting him with that lick stick. There he is. Look at that puppy. He's vicious. He's a killer. Look at him. He's a vicious dog. That vicious.
A dream come true.
Oh, look here. Look, he's got a little toy. See, this is what he does. This is what the little dog does all the time. Look at him. He's a killer. Now, you better be very nice over there, puppy dog. He's a good boy. He's a good boy.
That damn dog.
He's a good boy. We love him. We love him to death. All right, that's it.
But let's wrap things up here today. Grumpy X, what do you want to say before we wrap things up here today?
I want to say love and laughter to everyone who listens and even those who don't, from TJ, the grumpy old man, and Son X, Dog Z, Fiance Y, the Warden, the lovely Paige, and everybody else.
And X, what do you want to say before we wrap things up here today?
Just want to thank everybody for coming out and listening. Had a great podcast. Thanks so much for the fan involvement in the comments, and we will see you guys next time. Also, NFL playoffs, craziness. I think next week's going to be even better.
Gotta be better than this.
Yep.
That's right. Thanks so much, everybody, for watching the show here this evening. We'll be live with you guys this Wednesday on the Islanders Never Say Die podcast. Thanks so much, Grumpy. Thanks so much, Son X. Thanks, everybody, for commenting in. Thanks for all the like and supports. We'll see you guys here Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks so much, guys.
My pleasure.